that I have personal tools, I
Yeah.
like to take them to trainings too, to show them like this is where I started with, and
Yeah.
now this is where we're at, and they can see the difference in between the tools. Even though the tools are still great, the older ones, you can see the small little differences throughout,
Yeah.
and that's cool because the clients start, and when I say client, I say the end user, the
Yeah.
detailers.
Yeah.
They're like, oh wow, like that's phenomenal, like that's really good, that's the same tool. I'm like, yeah, look at the sticker, and it says it on the sticker on the bottom, and they go, and it's still going. I'm like, yeah, because
Yo, yo.
sorry, bro.
No, you're all good, man. How you doing?
Tired. I was at the beach all day.
Oh, poor you.
I promised the wife that it was going to be beach day today, and then I'm like, yeah, I'll do all this stuff, and then I'm like, oh shit, wait,
Yeah.
gotta
No,
keep her happy.
it's all good. Yeah, that's the important part, man. So, how's it
Cool. So,
going, man?
great. So you can hear me fine.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
All
Yeah,
right,
you're good.
because
Yeah.
I didn't think these headphones were going to work on my laptop, but they do. So
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. Hey, I know I told you an MTE, man, but congratulations, dude. I'm so
oh,
happy for you.
thank
Dude,
you,
as
bro.
long as I've known you, you've been like a Rupes cheerleader. So the fact that you finally like made it official, man, like
um,
I'm happy for you, bro.
thank you.
Yeah.
We'll go over it. I mean,
Yeah.
it had presented itself in the past.
Uh-huh.
I just always kind of like went a different route. Not that I was scared or anything. I just every time that they would approach me for, hey, we're hiring or something,
Yeah.
what ended up happening would be that, oh, cool. I'll look at it into a few. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, my son, he's like, here, use my mic.
Oh, nice.
Um, I had either said yes to someone else like Onyx,
Yeah.
or if I was working with like the ADA,
Yeah.
so then I just could never, say yeah. And then when I did apply, I was like a nervous wreck, dude, because I didn't know if I was gonna get it,
Yeah.
rejection. There was other people applying at the same time, so
Yeah.
um,
So did you take Brennan's place? Is that
no, no. My position is an added position.
Oh, okay.
Um, there's other positions like it. Like there's four of us, so it's Sarah, Robin, Ilya, and
Oh,
myself.
okay.
And between us four, we have regions.
Gotcha.
So I have Southeast, which is Texas to North Carolina, and then all the way down to Florida.
Oh,
So
nice. Nice.
I have to work that section. Sarah is the West Coast. Um, Robin is Northeast, and Ilya's in the center, but he's the BFA, which is the Bigfoot
Y-
Academy
Yeah.
manager.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So he pretty much took over Sarah's and Jason Rowe's
Gotcha.
position.
Gotcha.
So
No, I was just curious because before Aquatech, I was talking with Sarah and just like picking her brain, and she was like, "Well, what are you looking for?" And I was like, "I don't know. Why you offered me a job?" She's like, "I don't know, maybe." And I was
yeah,
like, and but she was like, "Look, dude," she's like, "It's tough, man. It's like 20 days out of the month you're traveling." And I was like, "Ah, man, like I can't
right
do that."
now, 31 days that I've slept in a hotel,
Jeez.
and the rest of it has been home. So it's cool. Like I rack up the points and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
They pay for everything. They're
Yeah.
fantastic. But it has been difficult, not just for myself, but the family. You know,
Yeah. See, that was
family.
funny. For me, I was like, there's no way. There's no way I could be gone 20 days out of the month from my family. Dude, Michelle and Haley were like, see ya. Like they
Yeah,
were like,
right.
go. Like, I
Like,
said,
bye,
yeah.
dad. Let
Yeah,
me
I
know
said
when you're
until
back.
yeah, I said until you guys start fighting and then I'm not around to like,
Yeah,
break it up or whatever. But no, and then when Brennan left to go to uh Marine, what is it? Marine
Stark. I think he was in.
yeah,
He's in Stark with
yeah,
Stark. Yeah.
yeah, Marine Detail Supply or whatever it's called. He hit me up and he's like, "Hey man, just to let you know if you're interested." He's like, "My job's on LinkedIn, if you want to go apply." And I was like, "Travel?" And he's like, "It's a lot." He's like, "Monday through Friday, come home, wash laundry, and then you're out again." And I was like,
fifty
I'm
percent.
yeah, I was like, nah, man. I'm like, the Aquatech thing is building and it's kind of chugging along, and
Right.
that I can do from home. So I was like, I'm gonna stick with it.
Well, and that's something that because I could have started this 3 years ago, and I'd
Yeah,
probably be in a better position now. But I felt after now that I took the position, the time with Onyx, the year that I did with Onyx,
helped you out.
all those trainings,
Yeah,
right? Getting into the ADA and working with Josh and Sparrowhawk, that helped me out. So it's like it's good to stay in certain things and try to get an accomplishment, like accomplish some type of goal.
yeah.
For me, was to be able to get Onyx back on the map and do 12 trainings in a year, which was once a month. We did 12 events. It was great. I thought I was like, oh, I'm traveling, I'm going here. Then I came over here and I'm like, oh, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah,
It's a whole different ball
yeah,
game.
yeah.
They're not like they're great people to work with. That's for sure. Whatever you need, you have an issue, talk to me. We'll take care of it. Not a
Nice.
problem. You can travel that day. It's okay to say no. And as a new guy, I'm like, I'm not sure when to say no,
Yeah,
when to
yeah,
say
yeah,
yes. So I'm
yeah,
saying yes to
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
And little by little, I learned. I'm like, I gotta stay home at some because the beginning of the year was nuts. Like
Right.
MTE,
Oh yeah.
that week of MTE, I had done a week in Tennessee
Okay.
and Alabama, so I was out there, and then I flew to MTE, was there for the whole show, prior to the show to set up, and then during the show, and then after that, drove home, and 2 days later, I flew back out,
Oh wow.
so to Colorado. So I was there for another week. So in reality, I wasn't home for that long. Then I came back from Colorado, and the following week was the Miami Boat Show
Okay.
startup. So fortunately, my company still runs a lot of the stuff over there at the show. We still detail for like Yamaha, Suzuki, and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you if you had to like, kind of shut down the detail business or if you're keeping it going.
No, no, I didn't shut it down. That was something that they told me that look, as long as it doesn't interfere with what we're doing, you're good. And we're
Okay.
not going to tell you what to
That's
use
cool.
or what not to use in your shop or in
Right.
your business, but you can't be promoting stuff like you used to. And
Gotcha.
I love to shout out the
Yeah.
brands.
Yeah.
Angel Wax, boom, here you
Yeah.
go. Onyx, here you go. And same thing with Rupes, I would do the same for them. So it was kind of like, okay, well, that's all I have to do now. Um, sure, no problem. And I stopped taking in new clientele. That's one thing
Okay.
that I did stop doing. I'm not. I've had some people call me. I just refer it to others because I do like the detailing. I don't mind car washing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'll do it if I'm home and I see that I have the schedule, but it's not something that is worth killing yourself anymore over because I have that security in the background. Now,
Right.
you call me for a coding, yeah, sure, I'll knock it out. Make a
Well, yeah,
couple
because that's
couple
a
grand in
nice,
a week.
yeah, yeah, that's a nice extra paycheck. Exactly.
Always. Like this week I did a boat and I did a full detail on a truck. That's
Nice.
$1,000 right there that I made
Yeah.
in total. I don't have to do work today. I don't have to work tomorrow. But a lot of other stuff like the Rupes side of things take up. Like I have to be on phone calls now. I gotta write emails and send emails out and check
Yeah.
up on clients in our area, in my area. So that's a little bit on the like the learning curve that I'm trying to get adjusted to. But other than that, it's smooth, because they don't bother me. They don't call me, hey, man, what are you doing
Yeah.
today? Make sure that you're doing something. No,
Oh, that's cool.
it's no pressure.
Yeah.
But you have to have your calendar filled out. So
Right.
I've been
Yeah.
I've been in Florida for 3 weeks since my last trip, which was in Puerto Rico. I was in Puerto Rico for a week. That was cool. Then I came back, and Jacksonville and Orlando were up next. So that's Florida time. That's Florida for me. That's home still.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I go ahead and take the whole family with me. I'm like, all right,
Oh, that's
let's go,
cool.
guys.
Yeah.
Let's go have some fun. And while Dad works, you guys could go
Yeah.
sightseeing and
Yeah.
enjoy the
Exactly.
day, and I can sit here and teach people the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Um, but it's worth it, and it's the only time. And it was spring break too, so kind of helped, spend some time at home with the family.
Oh, that's good.
And now I get ready to leave on Sunday, Easter Sunday. I fly out at 8. We're
Wow.
heading to Wichita and Oklahoma City.
Wow.
So
So when you're doing this traveling, is it all like training? I mean, are you going to a training event somewhere, or are you going to somebody's shop and working with them, or
um so it's a little bit of both. I have to work with our sales rep for the area. So
okay.
our sales rep for the area, he's in charge of setting everything up, but I still have to help him. So I still go to shops. Some days, like I'll pick 1 or 2 days out of the week that I'll travel around, visit shops, say hi to people, see how the products are working, if there's any complaints, if there's any issues, if whatever it may be, I have to be there to help them.
Right.
Sometimes their clients are running into an issue that is just, something with tech, whatever, they're using the tool wrong or they're using the compound wrong. Sometimes it's user errors and it's just, hey, look, you should try it this way. And then,
Yeah.
oh, okay, cool. That's my side of it. I don't have to set up these trainings, even though I do set up some trainings with certain distributors. But my job is to make sure these distributors know what they're doing, know our new products that are coming out, know that the any issues that we may be having as far as shipping or anything like that, that they're aware of it. And it's all just communicating with them.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we'll go into other new shops, new distributor shops, stores, and have to show them the whole lineup. So sometimes I got to do the door-to-door salesman type
Yeah.
thing, walk in with a bunch of tools, um, blow their minds, and they go, okay, cool, we'll carry your lineup.
Yeah.
And that's basically most of the job. Then there's the training. So trainings will be set maybe once in a month where
Yeah.
I'll travel, set up a training. But it's a little bit of everything. It's a little bit of everything.
No,
And
that's cool, man. Yeah, because I know when Alberto was here, I know I saw a couple of times like he had some training set up and like I guess somebody's shop and they would want to, I guess, like kind of just because he even told me he was like, dude, he's like, if you want to do something at your shop, he's like, I can just come by. And I'm like, dude, I don't have any employees, it's me, and I kind of know how to use the tool. Like, I mean, if you want
yeah,
to come hang out at my shop, coming out at my shop, we'll chill, like, we'll whatever. But I know like some of the shops around town he's kind of done some trainings with and stuff. I think
right.
even I forget over in Tampa, I think somebody did um they like set up trainings or whatever for people to come by and
I
and
think Car Candy's out there.
yeah, yeah, I know Car Candy's done them before, because they're like in the Lakeland area or
Right.
whatever. But no, this was like legit at somebody's shop where Alberto just kind of went and popped in for the day and like, you know,
Yeah,
ran.
that's very similar to what I have to do.
Yeah,
I'll come to shops down here in Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. I'll visit the distributors and see what they got going on. See if bring them a hat, bring them some gear, Maybe we have something new coming out that we need to talk about and discuss. So a lot of that is just product information that they need. Things change a lot too. So, you know, we'll have new products come out and they get released. A lot of the distributors are not familiar with certain things with the product, um, things that they need to know about that product,
Yeah.
warranties or
Yeah.
specs on the actual tools or the consumables. So what ends up happening is that I'll go in instead of a phone call. I rather just walk
Show
in,
up. Yeah.
shake their hands. How's it going, guys? See what's going on. A lot of times I'll run into clients at the stores, and then you get to meet the
Yeah.
client, the end user, and then say, hey, what's going on? How's it going? You know, and they'll be like, oh my God, the products are phenomenal, this and that, or this tool is great, but it's not working for certain things. And then it's just, okay, well, let's see what's wrong. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what approach you're going. And from
Mhm.
there, it's a lot of it's just technical stuff that, they don't know about that they need to learn. So
Yeah. And then you're like, hey, dummy, stop pressing down on it so hard. Um, quit
my
forcing it to
the
stall out. Like,
a lot what I see is like, oh, the machine's having problems staying on, and then
yeah.
you look at their cord and it's like
Yeah.
wrapped around the like a noose around this machine, and you're just like, dude,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do this like that. I would,
Yeah.
roll it up this way.
Listen, well, I think one of the greatest designs ever was the KXKPR1. Um, and I love mine because I can hang my tools on them and then
Phenomenal.
roll
Yes.
roll my cords up, and and they're not like tightly wound. I can just kind of
And
bring them
it's a
up. And
quality piece because they work really well. I bought mine. I have had one for like 4 or 5 years now since when I had my shop.
yeah,
That was one of the first things that I purchased, and it was solid, like
yeah,
solid. That thing was
it's nice.
solid.
It's when Noxie told me he discontinued them, I was like, dude, why?
Really?
He's like,
Oh,
yeah,
they
he's like, you're gonna buy
discontinued.
any more? I was like, no, and he's like, that's nobody's buying them. He's like, everybody buys the, now everybody is making the single rack holders, because it
Yeah,
kind of ripped off his design. So he's like, dude, everybody's buying single rack holders. So like they still
yeah.
sell the KXK single rack ones or whatever.
The
And I was like,
little, the one that just it's like a loop
yeah,
that
yeah,
hangs on the
yeah,
wall.
the carbon
I
or
have
the
that
not the carbon
one,
fiber, the
and I
3D
got the
carbon.
the three machine holder
Yeah,
as well.
that's the one I have, the PR1, and that's the
Hmm.
badass one because it
Yeah,
it holds up, dude.
it
I
holds
have all my
everything.
machines on it. Yeah,
Yeah. You
I mean,
get
I
three
have
machines on there. You can get smaller machines on the side, like a nano,
yeah.
the three
Well,
inch.
so the way that I run mine is I run my 3 Bigfoots hanging.
Hmm.
I put my LHR 75 on the inside because like where you would, I guess, put like your I guess it was made for like
Oh, I see what
boulders
you're
or
saying.
whatever.
On the inside of it.
Yeah, like on the inside. So I kind of have to move one of the Bigfoot, to take the LHR 75 out.
Right.
Then I hang my hybrid on the side,
Right.
and then
That's what I would do too.
and then I lay my rotary on the
On the
rack
bottom.
where the cords roll up. Yeah.
Right.
So I've
Yeah.
got three, four, I've got 6 machines on that one rack.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
great. And then
Yeah.
the rack's gonna hold up
Oh
because the thing
yeah,
is
dude.
solid. It's
Yeah.
heavy. I
Yeah,
remember when I
exactly.
first bought it, I was like, "Oh wow, okay, this is not flimsy at all. This is a
No.
very good piece."
Yeah.
And it looks nice. It's presentable. I still have it. I just don't have it up anymore.
Yeah. Mine's
Hopefully,
I took mine, um it was Verge, I think 2020. They did Verge here at Corey's shop, which is like right around the corner from me. And Noxie and Jason and Andy were there. So I took mine off the wall. I drove over to Corey's shop. Noxie came out with Andy and Kilmer, and they all signed it for me. And then I took it back
hey,
and put it on the wall.
nice,
Yeah,
nice. Well, it's gonna. They don't make it anymore, so now I
yeah.
guess
They don't
that's
make it anymore. I'll wait a few more years and then throw it on eBay or something. Get like
yeah.
20 cents for it. Uh,
When you retire.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what else is going on, man? I mean, other than the Rupes thing, I mean, how else? What else has life been doing
Um,
for you?
it's been well. Rupes has taken a lot. It's taken a lot of
Yeah,
my time getting adjusted. Um, I'm a detailer,
yeah,
by heart. Like that's what I've been doing for the past 9 years, and it's been an amazing journey. That was always up and down, up and down. But I finally found some stability. So it's trying to get adjust to that stability. Sometimes,
yeah,
you're like, wait, I'm not in full panic mode sometimes, or I'm not
right,
like running around or thinking of what's going on tomorrow and these jobs and
yeah,
looking forward to the summer where I don't have to be there every day now
yeah.
because I remember summer details were
Get,
rough.
getting beat up in the sun and the
Yeah,
heat, and yeah, yeah,
it's tough, but they've taken a lot of the time, but I know that it's going to change because right now it's all learning for me. It's
yeah,
soak up. Like what I
yeah,
thought I knew as a detailer was totally different once I got into it with Rupes. Rupes is known in the US as a detailing
yeah,
manufacturer, but they're far from that. That's just a
yeah.
very small percentage of what they do.
Yeah, I remember when I went to Gloss University and Dylan and Nick were there.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember Nick telling me, he's like, look, man, like, don't take any offense to this, but he goes, detailers don't amount to like that much. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he goes, dude, he goes, we sell so much to manufacturers and factories and things like that like the detailing side is kind of just a blip. And I was like, man, you know what, like I've never really thought of it that way, but
Yeah.
yeah, I could see where that's true, where there's like, dude, RV manufacturer plants he was telling me about, like going in there and selling them the Scorpio sanders and the polishers and all that stuff. Just pretty much about anything. And then the auto body side, on top of that is huge. So
Speaking of that, I just saw some videos because we have a couple of the guys out in Italy right now, and they're sending us videos of the shops they're visiting
mhm,
and the paint shops they're visiting, and it's like a whole different world over there.
yeah,
And that's the thing. They've been doing this since 1947.
yeah,
So they've always, they're originators. They've come out with tools that were first of its kind. And in Europe, everything that has to do with paint and body um, is all Rupes,
yeah,
and it's not just the sanders; it's extraction units as
yeah.
far as like vacuums or air purifier units the size of our house. Like
Wow.
they're huge, and what we get in the United States, it's a very small little thing. I start looking at the catalog of what they
Yeah,
actually make. I'm like, wait, you guys make this, we could use that here. They're like, we can make something better. We have
yeah,
it, but they're always innovating.
yeah,
So it's cool seeing the behind the scenes of all the projects that they're working on the new stuff that they're always. They got a new tool like released at SEMA. They're already figuring out how to make that tool better.
yeah,
Within that year of them selling it, they're like, all right, well, we could probably do this, we could probably do that. We try new tools, which is cool now that I get to test all this new stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Can't tell anybody what
yeah,
I'm working with,
yeah,
but I get to see it, I get to try it out, and a lot of times I'm like, oh, this is awesome, and they'll look at me and they're like, no, it's not. It's
yeah,
got too much vibration or it's too much of this, and I'm just like, oh, okay. uh,
yeah,
for me, end user, this
yeah,
is perfectly fine for me, and they're like,
yeah.
no, 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 we can make it better.
Well, I remember when I first started using Rupes when I was still at the car wash, and I've told everybody before this, like when we first started using it, it was just Chip and Todd. That
Yeah,
was Rupes USA.
yeah. Chip Todd and then Alberto.
Yeah, and Todd came down, and I remember, Todd saying that every machine, because of the healthcare in the EU, is like everything, the vibration has to be very minimal.
Yep.
The sound has to be very minimal, like all these things. So like I can understand where you're
Yeah.
like, dude, this is awesome, because here in the US it's like,
We're
who cares?
savages.
Yeah, who cares if you get arthritis and throw out your shoulder and your
Yeah.
ears get blown out? Like, who cares? Whatever.
Yeah.
But over there, they do care about that stuff,
Yeah.
and so I could see where you're used to, like, yeah, I don't care. Like, we're used to
I can't.
Milwaukee's and Makitas and just dial them to 7 and go.
And even me coming from the detailing world, used to Rupes products,
Yeah,
everything that I used was Rupes. So for me, it was like, okay, great. You guys make nothing but the best. And then they would show me a new prototype, and they're like, "What do you think of this?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's freaking awesome." And they're like, "No, we don't like it." And I'm like, "Why are you showing it to me? We just
yeah,
want to get your feedback."
yeah,
But I was like, "I like it. I don't see what's wrong with it." And then they teach me about it,
yeah,
and then I start understanding why they're saying what they're doing. So you're absolutely right. In the EU, they're very, very health care and all
yeah,
that stuff. They're very, very. It's very important. It's their number one thing.
yeah.
So the tools have to keep up with
Right.
that.
And I think that's cool that that they're showing it to you and then kind of explaining why, to train you, because that's one of the things that, like, within this past year or so, that I've really kind of learned. The last time we just went to Noxie's, and Noxie was showing us this compound that he was working on, and I'm like you, right? Like, dude, I'm like, that's badass. Like, when's it coming out? And he goes, nah, it's not ready yet. And I'm like, what? He goes, dude, this is version 2. He's like, and I'm like, dude, it just cut out 2,000 grit dry sand
Mark, yeah.
with a wool pad, like it
One
was
step.
nothing.
Yeah.
Right, right. Like polished down like it was nothing. I'm like, dude. And he goes, no, he's like, it needs to be tweaked. And I'm just like, but like he starts telling me like why, and I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, I
Yeah,
get it.
you
I get
start
it.
under.
Like,
It's far more far. It's a lot bigger than what we think it is.
yeah,
And then there's a lot of other things involved.
yeah,
You have competition. How are we gonna keep up with the competition? What I love about them is that they don't care for the competition. They are originators,
yeah,
so they come out with something. They're gonna try to make it as best as possible to our abilities. The cool thing is that everything's made in house,
yeah,
nothing's subbed out. So, from what's wild is like the tools that they sell, they need to make machines to create those tools. Then they have to make the machines that create the machines that make
yeah,
the machines. So,
yeah,
it's like a lot bigger than what we think.
yeah,
Like we don't sub anything out, everything is made in house. So then you, from what I hear, because I haven't been there yet, hopefully soon, um, the Milan campus in Italy is like 11 buildings, like
oh wow,
warehouses type thing. It's like you're driving into a university type thing. It's huge.
yeah,
Each building has its own thing, whether that's making compounds, that's developing compounds, that's testing compounds. The other one is pads and machines
yeah,
and so on. So when you start looking at the way they do things, it's very methodical. There's a lot of thought into it. A tool does not get released just like that, or a product. They're very thorough on what they do to be able to make that product the best as they can. And if they feel that it's the best that it can, then no other competition
yeah.
can keep up with that, you
Well,
know?
that's even kind of like uh the battery operated one, when they were showing it at SEMA last year before,
Yeah, it's 2 years now.
year
Yeah.
before, yeah. And because I remember, like, everybody was like ready to buy it. The distributors, it was supposed to be like launched in like February, and then I remember like you started seeing like, in March people were like, still haven't got my machine yet. In
Yeah.
April, people were like, still haven't got my machine yet. And I remember talking to Brennan, and he was like, like we showed that at SEMA, and then like realized it still had some bugs and we needed to fix it before we put it out. So we'd
Yeah,
rather prolong it versus put it out and then everybody trashes it kind of thing. So
yeah,
that's the other thing I think a lot of people don't understand is just because you show something doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna come out on time. I mean, it's
yeah.
the whole reason why they have concept cars, right? It's a concept. They
It's a
put it out there,
concept.
they show it to people to see what
Yeah,
they think, and then it's like, okay, can we make it and will it work kind of thing.
and
This podcast is sponsored by Detailed Image. What sets Detailed Image apart? Their outstanding customer service and fast shipping on 3,000 detailing products from almost 100 brands, plus their extensive product descriptions, detailing blog, and how to guides make it easy to choose the right products for any job. And here's the best part: listeners of the Detail Solutions podcast get an exclusive 15% off with the promo code DSP15. That's DSP15 for 15% off your order. Another option for the pros listening is their incredible wholesale program that saves you on average of 15 to 30% off. In 2024, wholesalers saved on average of $699. There are no fees, no commitments, and no subscriptions, just huge savings. Join today at detailedimage.com/wholesale/DSP, and you'll get a bonus $20 credit when you make your first purchase. Again, for the wholesalers, that's detailedimage.com/wholesale/DSP and get an extra $20 credit.
they also got to get the tool in other people's hands to get real life testing. So they do that for a while before they even release it out of SEMA. Um, One of the issues that happened back then, though, is that we were fresh out of COVID. We
Yeah.
were a year, 2 years right out of COVID. Things were still kind of crazy and shaky. A lot of the raw materials were hard to get or delayed, which is one of
Yeah.
the biggest issues we had. A lot of the stuff gets delayed. So you're working on this huge project. You're ready to release this cool, awesome machine, but then you're running into certain issues and you have to wait. So the public doesn't understand it. As a detailer, I was like, oh, I'm ready for my machine. I'm ready for the
Yeah.
machine. I just want to get it. Um, but it's all it's all done for a reason, and it's not like we don't want to sell you the machine.
Yeah.
Um, what I've realized is Rupes is not they don't care about the sale. They care about the client,
Yeah.
and that's one thing that they've taught me. Like, you could sell 1,000 machines, but I rather you get me 100 clients and make them lifetime clients versus
Yeah.
making them
But
selling
that's
them 1,000 machines. It
to
doesn't make
me, that's
sense.
kind of that difference in the European way of thinking versus the American way of thinking.
Right.
You know, like the European way is always kind of that, you know, make you part of the family, want to make sure that everything works and does what it's supposed to do. And the American kind of way is just like, we
Send
want
it.
it now, give it to us
Send it.
now. Yeah, exactly. Like, who cares if it breaks, we buy another one,
I mean,
whatever.
you got to look at it almost. You get the comparison a lot, like, oh, they're the Ferrari
Yeah.
of polishers and this and that. I mean, well, go look at Ferrari and how they do things. I mean, they don't allow anyone to wrap their cars, paint them. You can get sued for it, things like that, because they care about the
Yeah.
brand. They care about what the image is portrayed about the brand, and if they're gonna make something, they're gonna make sure that thing is as best as possible. Because if not, that tarnishes your name, and they're all about quality.
Yeah.
So those are things that I've noticed, that they're not, and that's probably why they've gotten so big. Is because through the years they've made sure that quality is first and foremost, um, because it's for our client, and our client is first and foremost.
Yeah.
So if the quality is not good, then it's not good enough for our clients, and it's amazing because then that tells you, all right, they're not rushing things. I mean, one of the things that I heard back then when the hybrid came out, um, and hybrid, when I say hybrid, it's the whole lineup. So
Right.
hybrid is not just a nano. It's the 75 HLR 75 Mini,
Yeah.
the
The high
HLR,
heel. The high
right?
heel, as
The,
everybody calls it.
the high heel platforms, um, which I love that tool. But the 21 and the 15 as well, they're all
Yeah.
part of that hybrid family. Hybrid is a way of saying hybrid.
Yeah.
So it's both. It's electric, plug in, and it's battery powered. Um, and then a lot of people were just like, "Oh, well, they're too late to the game." You know, the competition's already came out with these tools for the past couple years and this and that. But in those couple years, while those guys were releasing their tools and people were using them, they were running into issues, down the line that we did not want to run into.
Yeah.
So they methodically think, they're sitting there like, oh no, we got to do this right. And if we're going to do this, we're going to do it as best as possible, and then we'll release it. Who cares about the competition and when they released it? We'll release a better product, and our clientele base that we've gained their trust will support us when it does release. So it's not about trying to be the best in everyone's eyes. It's trying to be the best in behind closed doors,
Yeah.
in your shop. When you go to grab whichever tool you decide to grab, and you grab one of our tools, you grab it because you're comfortable. You know that it will get the job done, and the results are there, the quality is there, and that's why you purchase that tool. That it's not cheap. You
No, it's
know,
not.
that's one of the things.
But they make you a lot of money. I mean,
I mean, when you look at it like that, it's it makes sense.
yeah.
But Todd told me, he's like, look, one of the things you got to understand about Rupes is that there's a few things that people want. They either want it really cheap, right? Really good quality, right? Or inaccessible, right? You have to be able to get it quick and this and that. You can't have all of it.
No, you can't.
You can't. If you go quick, then more than likely you're going to lose on quality. If you go cheap, then you're going to lose on quality. So they rather, and if you can't be, we're not the cheapest out there,
Yeah.
and
No.
we know that, but that's
Yeah.
okay because we're not selling you. We're not trying to, we're not the fancy tool. We're the tool
Yeah.
that works.
And it's funny because, I mean, I catch myself doing it too, but it's always funny whenever Rupes comes out with something, and you see the detailers online and they're like, "How dare Rupes try to charge us $800 for a machine?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's a fucking lot of money, bro. Like, I don't have $800 to spend."
No,
But then I look at it, I look at my Mark II that I bought when the Mark IIs came out. So I think that was like 2016, no, 2000, yeah, like 16 or 17, I think
Mark
is when the
II was
Mark IIs
17,
came out. Yeah, 17. I
2017.
got I got it when they first came out. And so
2000, I'm sorry, 2015.
oh, was it okay, so
2015, 2016.
okay,
That's
yeah.
around the
I think it
time.
was 16 because I think it was right at because when I started with an ES,
Hmm.
and when I left the car wash, I started with an ES, and it was like later that year when the Mark II came out. So yeah,
Right.
I think it was like late 2016. So almost 10 years. We'll call it 9 years. I've had that tool. Um, Now, while yes, over those 9 years, I've had to spend, a couple $100 on a new uh basically like the inside.
Repairs and stuff.
Yeah, well, I forget it's the piece that
The
spins around.
counterweight. The counterweight.
No, not the counterweight. It's the thing that spins around and like creates the static charge with the brushes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where the motor connection is and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah, I
that.
forget the name of it, but I wore that all the way down, like, they were like, "We don't even know how it was still working," when it
But
was
they
working.
fixed it.
So, yeah, so they put a brand new one in. I mean, obviously, brushes over the years, I've had to have a cord replaced, I've had to have the counterweight done. Like, I mean, I've spent some money, but, like, by all means, like, the amount of money that that machine has made me, and let's call it 9 years, like,
Yeah.
totally outweighs having
Well,
to spend, maybe $100, a couple $100 a year in maintenance, right? And then I've got 2 other ones sitting right beside it that never really get used because I always use my main one, right? It's
yeah.
the workhorse.
Yeah.
And if that one's in the shop getting
Then you
repaired,
have the
then I
backup.
then I use the other 2, so yeah, I mean, like, I look at it and I go like, "Fuck, man. Yeah, Rupes charging $800 for these things." But then I sit and I look at my other ones and I go, "Okay, but they made me so much money. Like, if I had to go spend $800 tomorrow to buy a new one, like, totally justifiable."
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, and in your line of business, the type of quality that you produce and stuff, you want to be able to get that dialed in
Yeah.
perfectly. And once you find that sweet spot, you don't want to let that go. So you say, you know what, they have done that for me. I'm gonna continue supporting that brand.
Yep.
And that's the beautiful thing because now we've evolved so much. We're a Mark 5 now.
Yeah.
We skipped Mark 4 because it's an unlucky number in Italy.
Oh, okay.
So we went from Mark 2, Mark 3, and then skipped 4, and now we're at 5, Mark 5. And the tool is totally different,
Yeah.
way quieter, it's the lightest tool in the market. The motors changed; they're made out of different materials, much faster, and that evolved. But it's still the same machine.
Yeah.
Still produces the same of
Yeah. I
quality and
I
all
think
that.
they need to go hop in the DeLorean and go backwards and start remaking the Mark IIs again.
I
That one's my
just so I
favorite.
still have mine from 2016.
Yeah.
I remember the first 3 machines that I purchased was a Nano, was the 75 Mini,
Uh-huh.
and the 15, and there was a Mark 2 15. And once, I would say about a year ago before I started with them, they needed to get redone. So I sent it out, and I got it back, and it's brand spanking new. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh. So I didn't want to take it out the box. I didn't want to use it. I had my Mark 3. I said, I'll just stick to the Mark 3. I'll keep using the Mark 3 because the Mark 2 is my favorite tool, but it
Yeah.
looks so good that I don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
So I eventually started using it again. And then about 6, 7 months ago, before I got hired, I had sent out 6 machines to go get fixed. They all came back brand new. Everything's great. And then I got hired, and I'm like, "Ugh, I paid like 600 something dollars to get all these machines that probably could have gotten it done in house now." But
Yeah.
it they're still there. I have them in boxes.
Nice.
I use a lot of my tools that I have, personal tools. I
Yeah.
like to take them to trainings too, to show them, like, this is where I started with, and now
Yeah.
this is where we're at. And they can see the difference in between the tools. Even though the tools are still great, the older ones, you can see the small little differences throughout,
Yeah.
and that's cool because the clients start, and when I say client, I say the end user, the
Yeah.
detailers.
Yeah.
They're like, oh wow, like, that's phenomenal, like, that's really good, that's the same tool. I'm like, yeah, look at the sticker, and it says it on the sticker on the bottom. And they go, and it's still going. I'm like, yeah, because one of the things to keep our clientele happy, which is our main objective, is make sure that the client's always happy.
Yeah.
Because when you take care of your client, that's a client for life. And that's true because it happened to me. I was the client turned to
Yeah.
them, and I was
Yeah.
that client that if I had an issue with something, they would take care of it. Whether, okay, so I had to pay 120 bucks or whatever, but it was always, they went above and beyond to make sure that that tool was working properly and that it was taken care right. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? From here on out, I'm just going to keep buying these tools because it is a brand that has established itself in the United States. It is become like a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Um, you got fanboys all over.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, you got guys that don't like it, don't rather use another brand. But then you see their shop. and they still have one of our tools in there, or they're using our pads, or they're using our compounds, and that's cool. That's fine with me, and they don't care, as long as somehow, some way, you'll still come back to us
Yeah. Yeah.
in a certain way. And I've noticed that back then I was not aware. Like, I started with Rupes. I did not know what I used to Rupes,
Yeah.
Rups.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
this Rupes?
The
Rupee.
rupees, the roops. Yeah. Yeah.
And that once I started learning about it was really with hands on with the tool. So once I started, I had a 3D. My machine, my first
Okay.
machine was from
Yeah. I remember
3D.
the 3D
A
machine.
little purple one, I
Yep.
think it was.
Yep.
Um, it probably lasted me like 9 months.
Yeah.
Then it died, and I saw somebody online selling their three tools for like $800. So I called the guy. I'm like, "Hey, how much do you want for that Rupes tool?" "Oh, it's $800." I'm like, "Why are you selling it?" I just curious. Are they okay? Are they broken? What's wrong with them? He goes, "I was working with automotive, and I switched over to marine, and all I use is a rotary. I don't need these machines anymore. And to be honest with you, I'm tight on money. Christmas is right around the corner, so I need to get some money so I can buy some gifts for my kids." And I felt bad.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm in the same position. Like,
Right.
I'm
Right.
trying to
Yeah.
make money so I can
Yeah.
feed my
Exactly.
get gifts for my kids and have a good Christmas. But I told him, I'm like, I would love to buy the machines. I just can't afford the 800. But it's a great deal either way. Guy calls me back like 2 days. He's like, "Dude, honestly, if you can give me $400,
Oh
I'll
shit.
take it. I'll cut it in half. I really need some money right now." I'm like, "Honey, it's $400. We
Yeah.
can't afford that." I'm like, I mean, I can, but she goes, "Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's, do you really need that?" And I'm like, it's not about that I really need it. It's that I know once I get it, it's going to open other doors for me because I'm going to be able to offer so much more.
Yeah. Because
And
that was at the time you were still kind of just doing like car washing and stuff,
it was
right?
all car washing. I was
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
washing cars
Yeah.
for
'Cause
like
I remember.
$30.
Yeah, I remember when you started, you just strictly kind of car
It
washing.
was all car washes. And
Yeah.
for me, I had no issues because I had just started. I was doing car washes, and it was every week. Like, I knew I had work every week,
Yeah.
every third Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays were just booked always. But I was kind of I would, at that point, I got into the social media and started realizing how everybody else was evolving
Yeah.
from the car wash to, okay, let's just become detailers now, which means that you need to have a machine because now you have to work on paint and a
Yeah.
lot of other stuff that I did not know about. But I did know that those machines were top of the line. That's from what I heard, from what I saw. So I'm like, I got to get me one of those machines. And I was able to get it from that guy. And those machines, I still have them.
Nice.
They still work. They still do what they do. Um, and that's one of them, is the one that I have still in the box. And it's, I want to send it off to get painted, get it custom painted and stuff, so I can have that piece as a display
Yeah.
piece.
Yeah.
Um, but after that, I was able to purchase another one, and I had four machines at that point. And then, my wife easily saw that the correction job started picking up. Coatings became a thing. Got into coatings, and they go hand in hand. So now I'm correcting, and so I need these tools.
Yeah.
And like you said, they've paid themselves over 1,000 times, dude.
Oh, easily.
Um,
Easily.
they've been a blessing. And now it's like I have all these tools, access to all these. Like, they send me. I get home one day. It's like a couple weeks after I got back from Colorado. My first day in the job was in Colorado,
Uh-huh.
January 6th. And they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna send you a bunch of stuff that you need, this and that." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I get home like a week later, pulling up to the house, and I see FedEx with he's got the hand trolley, and he's bringing in like four big boxes, dropping them
Yeah.
off at the door. And I'm like, "Those are big boxes. Who ordered something?" And then I see him go back and get more stuff.
Oh,
And I was
jeez.
like, "Oh." So I had a pile of stuff. So I'm opening things, and there's
Like
every
kid at
machine.
kid at Christmas time, right?
Yes, yes, man. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh my god, I got the new battery machines. I got a new 75. I got new this. I got new that. I got compounds, polish. And now I'm not into the business as I used to be.
Right.
So I'm sitting here. I'm like, man, do I wish I would have gotten this like 6, 8 years ago? That would have been great.
Yeah.
Um, Dream come true would have been. I would have been, um, but it's a new. Now I have a ton of stuff, and I got to stay stocked because I'm always doing demos. That's one of
Yeah.
the things that I do a lot is demos. Just walk into a shop, grab my little Pelican case, bring it inside, open it, and everyone's like, "Whoa, those are nice." Here, try it, test it
Yeah.
out. You want some pads? Let's get some work done, and show them the proper way of using our tools, which is a big misconception. A lot of people think that they go to the Bigfoot Academy
Mhm.
and that we're going to teach you how to do it the right way.
Yeah.
We're not teaching you how to do it the right way. We're teaching you how to do it the Rupes way with our tools.
Yeah.
Our tools have been designed from the pad to the compound to the actual tool. Every little thing on that tool has been designed to work in a system.
Yeah.
So once I learned that, we're not selling you tools or we're selling you pads or compounds. We're
You're
selling
selling
you
the
a
system.
system,
Yeah.
a system. And it's tough because a lot of people think, oh, I'm not going to pay to go to Colorado to go learn how to polish. I've been polishing for 20 years. Fair enough. I get it. But we're not telling you to go there to learn how to polish. We're telling you to go learn how to
Learn the
use our
system.
system.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where it's one of the big things, that I
Yeah.
see that people don't understand.
No, and it's crazy because I mean I'm a huge fan of the machines, obviously. But I do um prefer different pads and different compounds and stuff. But I do remember when Todd came to the car wash and he was showing us just how much it's um
More efficient.
designed right from the machine to the pad to everything. Because I remember he was like, took a machine and like full six, pull the trigger without a pad on it, and the thing just wants to jump all over the place. And then you put a pad on it and you pull the trigger and it's like,
Night and day.
yeah, it was just like calm
You
and
know he still
peaceful.
does that, right?
Yeah, does he?
That
Nice.
is, he taught me that little trick, and I have blown people's like they're like,
Yeah,
what?
it's crazy, and it is true because like you can put another pad on it, and it does balance it out, but not as much as like a Rupes pad will.
Correct.
I definitely will say that. Um, but again, everybody just has their preferences to pads because maybe a Rupes didn't cut a job or polish a job as good as a Lake Country pad or an Oakburg pad or a
Correct.
Buff and Shine pad or whatever. I mean, I'll be honest. A couple of my favorite pads to use right now is well ever since I went to Gloss University was definitely the new microfiber cut pad. I love that pad. Uh,
From
from Rupes.
oh really?
The blue
The blue
microfiber.
with the blue foam. Yeah.
I love that pad, dude. Like when Dylan left, because it was right when those pads were coming out, and I kept hitting him up. I'm like, dude, when are these pads coming out? Because I was running out of the freebies that I took from Gloss University. And it was like right when Dylan was leaving, and he was like, "Hey man, did you get pads yet?" And I said, "No, dude. Like nobody's got them in stock or anything." He's like, "What's your address?" So I thought he was just gonna send me like a couple,
You
And I
got a box.
remember, yeah, I remember we were in the pool, and me and Michelle were in the pool, and Haley's like, UPS just dropped a box off, and I was like, "Oh, my Rupes pads." I was like, "Go get it and bring it in." She's like, "It's a big box." I'm like, "Can't be that big. He's just sending me a couple pads." No, he sent me like a full case of each, the blue, the yellow, and the white.
Different
And
sizes and stuff.
yeah, well, no, just the 5 inches because that's what I use.
Okay.
Um, but I'm not a big fan. I wasn't a big fan of like microfiber for polishing.
Right.
And then I never really like used white pads for like jeweling or whatever. But I'll tell you what, man. Lately, I've been because a lot of the cars I get are newer cars. They just kind of need a one-step polish, and I've been super vocal. I'm a big Oberk yellow foam pad and Oberk sole on those types of cars. But I did have a car that was a little bit wonkier that the Oberk yellow foam pad just wasn't cutting it. But I didn't want to go like it was like cutting it, but not enough. And I didn't
Right.
want to go full microfiber cut pad. So I grabbed one of those yellow microfiber pads. I was like, let me try this out.
And it worked.
And dude, it did the trick because of the microfiber. I felt it had a little bit more cut than the foam,
Mm-hmm.
but it still was able to like
Finished down.
finish down with sole to like a nice polish, so I could do it as a one step. So now like I'm using a lot more of those yellow microfiber pads,
That's
for one
cool.
step jobs. So yeah, sometimes just playing around with things, finally eventually like you're like, I don't think I'll ever use that one. And so then it kind of there's a couple of times I've used the white one like on some black cars that um like I cut it as a one step, but I'm just looking for that little
Extra.
that
Yeah.
little chef's kiss. Like I'll slap that white microfiber on there with like some M205 or even um uh the Uno was it the
Pure.
Uno Pure?
Uno pure.
Yeah, and just do a quick polish down on it and just give it that little chef's kiss, especially on black. So yeah, I'm finding that I like those pads a little bit more now than I ever did before.
That's cool. Cause I like them, but I
Mhm.
only use them in certain things. My favorite's always gonna be the wool. The
Uh-huh.
yellow wool is
Yep,
my go-to.
that's another
Um,
nice one.
but they just released the Azure, which is the intermediate pad, the blue one, the baby
Mhm.
blue, and that pad is wicked, man. It's really really good. So again, I also have used so many different brands.
Yeah,
Um, but what I noticed was and this is, it may sound a bit, because I am working with them.
yeah,
But when I did switch the system to Rupes compound, to Rupes pad, to the Rupes machine, altogether, I cut down my working time in half.
yeah,
So any car that was working 8 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours on, half. 8 hours turned into four, 10 turned into five, 15 turned into 6.5
yeah,
hours, and I'm done. Coded, out the door, money in the bank. So that's when I was like, oh yeah, there's nothing else to think about. I
yeah,
love a lot of compounds and polishes from different brands that they make fantastic stuff. But when I dialed in the system and I learned it, it dramatically changed my approach. Um, that, and probably the fact that I had been in it for so many years, and first few years you're going after every little thing.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, I can get that scratch out. I know I
yeah.
can. Yeah.
And
Oh,
now you're like, they're not even gonna see it. I
they're
can
not
hardly see it. Yeah,
they're not gonna look at this rocker panel,
yeah,
man. They're
yeah,
not
exactly.
looking at this
Exactly. The
rocker
sun doesn't
panel.
hit on it. Come on, man.
It's rocker
Dude,
panels.
I'll tell you the one that I really loved and I hated that they quit it was the green pad and the green compound.
Really?
I
The heavy cut?
love that. Yeah. Well, no, that was just on the blue was the heavy cut. The
Blue's heavy. That was more
the
of an
green, yeah, the
intermediate.
green was like kind of an intermediate. And when I had left the car wash, um, and we were distributors. So when I left the car wash and the owner at the time was like, look, like, whatever you need, you're buying it at cost. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. So like, I bought like $2,000 worth of stuff, which, was really like $5,000 worth of pads and
Right, right.
compounds and machines and all that stuff. So I mean, like when I started originally, it was white, yellow, green, blue, and then you had the gray, which was ended up
The
becoming
gray. I
ended up
remember
becoming the
that.
Uno, but I forget what it was called. It was kind of like the all-in-one kind of
Turned
deal or
into the
whatever.
white pad. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, dude, that green one was the one that I liked because back then that blue coarse foam pad was just too aggressive. Like that was the one that was like a loofah,
Yeah.
like you could
It is
literally
a
like
yeah, yeah.
scrape skin off with it. So I like that green one because to me the green one is kind of like what the blue one is now a little bit. Like
Right.
the blue's probably still a little bit more aggressive than that green one was, but it wasn't as huge open cells, as rough and aggressive. So I like that one better, and I was a little disappointed when
Have
they
you tried
discontinued
to
it.
have you tried our the Azure pad, the intermediate one, the new
No, not yet.
all right,
I,
I
I
gotta do some. I'll send
yeah,
some
I
out to
haven't
you.
I haven't tried that one yet.
A box like Dylan. I don't got that pull,
Yeah,
but I can definitely send you you can
no, that's
use
all
and you'll
good.
test that
Yeah,
out.
that's all good.
Um,
No, yeah, but yeah, I haven't tried that one. And then I remember Rupes sent me. Dude, I felt so special. Rupes sent me when it came out, and this was a few years back now or whatever, when they redid the blue and they redid the yellow. Um, and but I guess I got some um that were not up to par because I remember I messaged Brennan and I was like, dude, this stuff does not want to wipe off. Like it's super sticky. And he's like, how are you using it? And I'm like I should be using it. And so like I explained it to him, I showed it to him, and he called Rose, and Rose was like, yeah, like apparently they were having an issue with certain bottles or whatever. So he's like, send me the code that's
mhm.
on the bottle
That's
so we can
cute. Yeah.
track it. And I'm like, dude, my bottles don't have a code. And he goes, no, they should. And I'm like, no, they don't. And I like even took pictures and sent it to him. And he's like, dude, they all should have codes on them. And so like I don't know like what.
Where that? Who gave that to you? It
Yeah.
was Brennan,
So
or you bought it from
no,
somewhere?
no, it was sent to me. Like I don't even remember who sent because like they just showed up one day. It was a quart of the cut and a quart of the polish, and then it was like the new blue pad, the new yellow pad. I think it was like two of each.
Right.
Got sent to me, just popped in the mail one day. So I mean, I'm sure it was when Dylan was still there, but like I didn't know Dylan at the time. So I mean, I'm guessing it's probably because of the podcast that they were like, "Hey, let's send this asshole some and see what he thinks." Um, but yeah, I mean,
Sure.
I liked it. It worked. It was just a pain in the ass to remove, and then Brennan was like, "Oh, I'll send you some new ones or whatever," and I never got, and it
Oh,
it is what it is. Um, but no, so I mean, like and again, like everything I have nowadays is so brand new that like I hardly even use my Obert cut. Like it's Soul or um, you know, I'll use Soul on either an Oberk yellow pad or a
right.
Rupes yellow pad, just depending on like how
Depends on
it is.
paint too. Yeah,
Yeah,
it depends on
yeah,
the paint.
yeah,
I mean, things like that do happen. The great thing is that we're there, ready to
yeah,
nip it in
yeah.
the
And
butt.
they yeah, and they were great about it. I'm not knocking it at all, dude. Brennan was excellent about it and got with Rose and all this stuff. It was just one of those, again, like, everybody
It
kind of
happens
knows
sometimes
I
with a
don't I don't
batch.
do volume. Yeah, I don't do volume, so it's hard for me to be like, "Well, send me some more and I'll try it," because like I've still got so much other shit that I don't use. Like I don't want to have
I
I
guess
don't
we're
have
not the
full.
only assholes sending you stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you guys weren't the assholes. I'm just saying they were like, "Hey,
This
let's send
asshole.
some to this asshole and let him try it out." Yeah. Yeah, no, no, no. Listen, anybody who wants to send me free stuff, I am all about it. But
Same here.
yeah,
Same here.
but at the same time, like I'm not like Tommy's post the other day. I'm not that guy reaching out going, "Hey, send me some stuff and I'll test it out for you."
Yeah, I know,
Like,
right?
unless it's a
I
machine. If Rupes wants to send me a machine to test, I will gladly I will gladly accept one of those.
I got that as soon as I signed up. Within 24 hours, it's the
Oh,
DMs
dude,
coming in,
I'm
the
sure
text
you did.
messages. Hey,
Yeah.
bro, if you ever need any testing or anything, let me
Yeah.
know. We'll take care of it. And you know, I would love to help everybody out.
Oh, of
You
course,
know,
dude. But
I,
there's only
I'm
yeah,
one of
it's
you
not
guys.
yeah,
You
but it's
know,
not like that. Yeah.
but it's so difficult, and you know, they do so much that for me, like I start wondering, I'm like, where are you guys? Like, how are
Yeah.
you not losing money?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Hey, no wonder why the price of the machines went from $600 to $800. It's because they're sending you all that free shit. They got to recoup.
yeah, right. No, well, prices have gone up in a lot of
No,
things.
prices
So
go up on everything, and that's listen, detailers that are listening to this. If you're not increasing your prices,
yes,
get with the program because
it
you
should
know
go up at least.
125% now because everything's coming from China that these cheap assholes are
Well,
buying.
that's the thing, that if you think things were expensive before, or that you're they're spiking up prices on stuff,
Um,
just wait. In the next 6 months, you're gonna see who survives this and who
yeah,
doesn't.
all
It's
your
rough,
rip off Mac Shine machines are going to cost as much as a Rupes machine now.
you know. That is the truth. I can't touch too much on that subject, but
I know you
as
can't. I know you
as
can't.
far
I've had
as
plenty of conversations about that with Dylan when he was still there. So, um, we even did a podcast about it. So it's all
but that's like, and right now that's one of our main objectives. It's like we can't just skyrocket these prices
yeah,
because and this and that.
yeah,
I think management has done a phenomenal job trying to keep it balanced. Even if it means that we have to take a loss on our end, because it's only right that we can do what we, as best as possible for our
yeah.
clients. It would
Well,
suck.
so from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the two facilities here in the US now is because you guys are manufacturing here, right?
So yeah, we since we manufacture pretty much everything, except the boxes, because we don't make
Yeah.
cardboard boxes
Yeah.
or the tape.
Yeah.
But everything's built from the bearings to the motors, the wires, the computer chips,
Yeah.
every batteries, everything's made in house,
Right.
and it's shipped over to Denver, Colorado, where we put together, assemble everything.
Okay. Okay.
Um, our
So you are
our
still getting stuff from Italy, but again, the tariffs aren't as high coming on stuff from Italy as stuff from China is
Um,
right now.
no, no, I don't think
Yeah.
it's near
Yeah.
anywhere near that.
No.
Which is great news for us,
Yeah.
and for our clients, so that way they can maintain the same type, same relationship. Is not We're not changing anything. We're not going to be pissing people off.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of it's not under control. Like, we can't control if they raise our tariffs and
Yeah.
whatnot, but we had our like I said, our management has done a very, very good job of trying to maintain that. Italy has done a great job trying to keep everything, where it's not affecting us.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that price increases won't happen. It's going to happen at some point. Obviously, every year things are getting more expensive and more expensive. But that's something that we work on the back end like crazy, to try to make sure everything is smooth. I don't know too much on it. I do here and there, but their end goal is to try to keep everyone happy here in the U.S.
Yeah.
and worldwide, because it's not just here; it's
Yeah.
everywhere else. Um, and I think they've done a phenomenal job with it. We have a lot of things that we're always working on and trying to improve and things like that. So with that, and then trying to add in extra costs and stuff like that, it's difficult.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. I was talking with I forget who it was the other day, but I'm curious to see how this all affects pricing and for chemicals and pads and all that stuff now. Because let's face it, there is a lot of shit that comes out of China. I mean, I was just talking with Ian, and Ian's like, dude, I don't know how I'm gonna price my stuff right now because like I got to make sure that I'm, you know, not going too crazy with it because I want to keep my, my clients, but this, keeps going
It's
up and down every other day, like, dependent on, and I know he's going to be like way more affected than a lot of other people. Um
yeah. Well, I'll tell you who's going to be affected. A lot of the people that shop at Harbor Freight,
yeah.
a lot of people that, yeah, like you said, Max Shine, stuff like that,
Yeah.
they're going to run into it. And it's unfortunate, but it's something that needs to get done so
Yeah.
that we can all be on the same equal
Right.
playing ground.
But what I'm hoping is detailers are smart enough to go, okay, so my chemical company now is increasing the price because raw goods coming out of,
Wherever.
wherever. Yeah, to make this compound in Germany and then get shipped here to the States, yada yada yada. My tiles are going to be more expensive now. My machines are going to be more expensive now. My pads are going to be more expensive now. I hope that they're not still going to be doing $300 ceramic coating jobs, because their ceramic coating coming out of China might cost them
Um,
$300 now a bottle. Um,
I think what's gonna end up happening is it's a lot of those cheaper guys are gonna end up,
yeah,
it's just gonna get weeded out.
yeah,
It's, you can only do so much, unless you're doing high volume. And there's so many guys that just started
yeah,
a year ago, 2 years ago, and now they're getting affected with this. They have to raise their prices. But I
yeah.
mean, as a business, put aside the tariffs and all the price increases on products and this and that. As a business, you should be raising your prices every year,
Oh, absolutely.
whether it's pennies to dollars. You need to raise it because you have a shop. I'm sure the
Mhm.
rent, and if you don't own your shop, your rent's going up.
Yeah, my rent went up this month, or not this month. My rent went up towards the end of last year,
Right.
um, a whopping $20.
But it's
Um,
20 bucks.
yeah, exactly. It was $20.
And it's 20
Exactly.
bucks a month.
Took me from $390 a month to $410 a month. So, um,
Damn, that's
you
some
know,
good prices you
I
got there.
know, I know, I know. That's why it's so hard to leave my shop, dude. And
Yeah,
it's a small little shop, but like I tell people, like,
it does what it
it's
does.
it's only me. I can only work on one car at a time. Like, what do I need a shop 2 times or 3 times as big to be paying for dead space?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you
if you're
know,
not producing it, it's not worth it.
right?
And that's a business decision that you're making
Yeah.
because you know your clientele, you know your potential,
and
and you
it's
s-
a and it's a business decision that's helped me over the last 3 4 5 years where the economy's been so
up and
wonky.
down. Yeah,
Is I don't need to make a shit ton of money to cover my rent, to cover the lights, to cover the electric or the insurance, to cover this, that, and the other.
and be
um,
able to take some home money
Right,
home.
right.
Yeah,
My shop price. I mean, shoot, my total overhead for the month is probably what most people pay and rent, just for rent. Noxie
yeah.
hates it every time I go up there, and I purposely bring up that I only pay like $400 a month, and he's like, God,
Sheesh.
can you-"
That's like a closet and an
Yeah,
air and a, because I remember doing when I was in the aviation stuff. Um, to get a hanger is retardedly expensive,
oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
So what the FBOs would do is that they'll rent you out a closet,
yeah,
a closet, literally enough to,
Literally, yeah.
but you could put your tools and products and stuff that you
Right.
need in that closet.
Yeah.
That gave you access to the FBO. So now
Yeah.
I can walk on that tarmac. I am allowed to be there because I'm part of them.
Right.
That's $400.
Yeah.
That's just a closet. So that's a very good pricing. I remember
Yeah.
when I had my shop, we started off at, I want to say it was 1,500 bucks,
Mhm.
and that was great. That was cool. It was hard to try to, um, at the beginning, it was trying to fill the shop up, get clients
Yeah.
in, and get accustomed to it. And once I finally got accustomed to it, then they, okay, well, rent's gonna go up to
Yeah.
1,700, and I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, you're going up like 250 bucks now a month.
Yeah.
All right, whatever, that's not a problem. COVID hit, and they maintained that for like 2 years, and then after COVID, it was like we're going up to 3,000. It was like,
Ooh.
oof. um, but what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
I kept going, um, kept going, and the next thing you know, hey, if you don't sign for 5 years, we're gonna go up to 3,500 at the end of the
Oh
of
shit.
your lease, and
Yeah.
we can keep you at 3,000, but you got to be 5 years in. If not, we're gonna go up to 3,500. And I told them, I'm sorry, that's just right now. I'm struggling just with $3,000 rent.
Yeah.
That's not including my it was doing PPF, so plotter software, monthly
Yep.
charges, 2 employees. Can't, now I have to do a lot of stuff myself.
Yep.
Um, product cost, electric, water, insurance, all that starts like, and I'm looking
Yeah.
at $4,000 a month,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting here like, this is not, even if I pulled in 5 coding jobs a week, I'm still dishing out a ton of money.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to get that, like, things started getting rocky very, very quickly after COVID. People were not spending money.
No, they're not. Like
And
we had that 2020 COVID year and 2021 when they weren't making cars and people couldn't travel that were huge. And now I know, like, some people might be listening to this and be like, well, I'm still crazy busy. Like, listen, there's a few people out there that I think are still doing well. But there is a huge majority that are not. I've seen the drop off, and I think a lot of it is oversaturation. I mean, I've said it before, like, everybody either lost their job at COVID, or when businesses started saying, hey, you have to come back to work, and people were like, screw that, I'm used to being at home. Like, what's the easiest jobs to our
to
businesses
start
to
up,
start?
yeah.
Detailing, lawn service, maid
Yep.
service.
And then you had uh, a huge amount of immigrants come in,
Yep.
and it's easy to purchase a van.
Yep.
You're getting money from the government, you're getting assistance, you're able to purchase a van, and then you're able to buy products and make your website. And I'm a detailer.
Yeah.
That's it. And
Yeah.
I mean, I see it a lot, and it's nothing against immigrants. I come from an immigrant family. We all have to do what we have to do to
Right.
make our bread and make our money. And um, we came here for the dream of freedom and the dream of being able to own our own business and prosper. But it saturated the market, and now you have. I did a search on it. I mean, you can do it on your phone. You go to Maps and type in detailing
Yeah.
in your area, and just a bunch of dots start popping up left and
Yep.
right. It was like Starbucks. Like if I typed
Yeah.
in Starbucks,
Exactly.
boom, all over the place, a
Yeah.
block from each other, across the street from each other. And then I'm like, this is what I'm competing with. You know, it's no longer about who's producing the better quality. It's no longer about, oh, this guy has the most experience, so I'm going to take my car to him.
Yeah.
No, it's about, I can't afford it, but I want it,
Yeah.
and let me see what I can get for what I can afford. And sure, the guy that just came in, he's a year in the United States.
You're right. But not even them. It's just even the new people starting out. And I remember, hearing this a lot years ago from talking to detailers, kind of like when we all kind of came into the industry around the same time,
Mhm.
and you talk to people and they're like, man, $20 is $20. If I can make $20 a day, I'm gonna make $20 a day. It's better
Yeah,
than
and
not
nothing.
making anything, right?
Yeah,
And I feel like that's kind of the mentality is
get
it's
what you
hey,
can get. Yeah,
right, hey, let me go out and do a bunch of cars, but I'm gonna make $300 today. But you know what? Like working at McDonald's for 40 hours, I'm only going to make 250 after taxes,
yeah.
like so I can do that in one day. And that's
It's
the
much more
part.
appealing than working at McDonald's. You have
Right,
your own
exactly.
business.
Yeah.
You're on
Yeah.
your own
But
schedule.
again, I think a lot of people don't realize like the overhead that's in it. Even the guys are like, well, I'm mobile, so I don't have to pay for a shop. Cool. You still had to pay for a van. You still have to pay for gas. You have to pay for oil changes, tires,
Maintenance.
like all that stuff that goes on with a van. And so what I see, and this is just my opinion outside looking into the industry through Facebook, is there's a lot of people that are quote unquote making money, but if you look at kind of the background and you look at the things that they're posting, they're not earning that
Money.
money. If you know what I mean. Like, sure, they could be doing $200,000 plus in their shop, but they live and act like they're taking home 30 grand a year, which is nothing wrong. That's minimum, that's kind of middle income or whatever,
I mean, I was in
you know.
that position
Right.
for a good while, where shop is producing a ton of stuff, but I'm leaving the shop at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Getting home, and when I got paid, it was like, all right, well, now I got to pay this. I
Yeah.
got guys working for me. I got to pay
Exactly.
this. I got to pay
Yeah.
that, and then I'm driving home. And I'm like,
Yeah. What the fuck did I
like
make
I got
today?
$100 in my pocket. Like,
Yeah.
what is
Exactly.
this?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that's very frustrating. Because and that's frustrating and causes you it's a chain reaction, because from there you start saying, well, I need more work.
Yeah.
I can't. With what I'm doing right now, we
And
need
then more work leads to more employees, leads
more
to a bigger
employees.
shop, leads to more overhead,
And not just that, but more work means that how can I get more clients into the door? Well,
Yeah.
let me sell myself short.
Yeah.
Let me give deals out. Let
Mhm.
me give specials out.
Well, and it's not only that, but now there's so much saturation, you get the phone call, "Well, the guy down over there said he'll do it for X amount," you know? "Okay, well, I'll do it for
For a
$50
$100
less."
it's
Yeah,
less. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And it's
And I'm
it's
and
like
I'm better, and I'm
right,
better.
right, and it's like Fermani, has said for the longest time, then it becomes a race to the bottom instead of,
A
"Hey,
race
let's
to the
climb
top.
the mountain together. Let's
Yeah.
all get together and agree that we're not gonna, like, we're gonna continue to raise our prices and raise our prices."
It's difficult, which is why you see a lot of detailers at that point in time would started transitioning and offering different services,
Mhm.
where, oh, well, let's offer tinting, let's offer PPF, let's offer wraps. I had to do that because I was only getting so much in, and then my prices were I was not going to budge on my prices,
Yeah,
but the competition literally across the street
would budge on the price.
would budge on that
Yeah.
price. And you would see their shop fill up, and you're like, what the heck? Then you find out that, yeah, the guy that just came by and you gave him a quote for 1,500, he went over there for $800,
Mhm.
and now he's cool. So I'm like, I could do that for $800. Screw it. And then you sell yourself short, and the next thing you know, now you're at $800. You're not at that price anymore.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I've told a couple of my friends, be careful of lowering your prices because you'll never be able to raise them back again. And
That's true.
and that's the hard part because, you know, as soon as you lower them, and then it's like, okay, well, let me raise them back up, then everybody's gonna be like, yeah, but you were doing it for this price for so long, and then, I 3 cars with you for $800. What do you mean you're $1,500 now? Like, come
I
on, bro.
know.
Like, $800 worked before. Do it
And,
again.
and to keep that client happy, you budge
You're stuck, right?
and you're stuck. and
Yep.
it sucks because not only have you now invested in yourself with better tools, better products, your shop rent has gone up.
Hmm.
Your guys that were working with you, or if you're yourself doing it, now
Yep.
you're actually working harder because you got more. Yeah, you may have more clients, but they're cheaper clients,
And then the
and
other thing is,
it's so
dude,
difficult.
every day you're not getting younger. So it doesn't matter if it was 2 years ago, 5 years ago, or last week. Like, you're older, you're beat up by these machines, by these cars, by this work. It's not fun work. I mean, that's there's a reason why I don't like doing paint correction and coating jobs, multiples in a week, because
Yeah,
after one, I'm
you
beat,
kind of be.
Yeah. And it's
Maybe you're using the wrong products and tools.
I don't know, maybe I'll
Maybe
call
we need to tweak
Metcalf
your
and get a
stuff a
flex
little bit.
machine and try it out.
Yeah, I mean it happens. But I think as a country, we're starting to get better. I think all around everything people are starting to understand. I think there is a change. I've seen a change. Um, the detailers now that are starting now, I mean, these guys, they're leaps and bounds
Yeah.
to where when we started. And oh, battery. And for me, it's like, man, I wish I had what you had back then.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have access to the help to where I can say now, like, oh, I know how to do wet sanding or spot sanding, dam sanding fast. And I didn't offer that. I mean, I started at $25-$30 a car wash,
Mhm.
you know, and the guys now, they've learned from people like ourselves what to do, what not to do. Um, the products have gotten way better,
Yeah.
which is I realized that I'm like, are the cars just easier to work on, or has the products just gotten better? You would think. I think it's the products have
Yeah. I
you
think the
know
products have gotten, I mean, especially like in the coding realm, I mean, coatings have gotten a lot easier. I mean, think about it, like, when you and I kind of got into this, everything was a two-layer system, whereas now the technology is gotten to the point where it's, single layer. Um, the coatings are a lot easier to apply and remove now
So
versus,
easy. Can you
yeah,
hear me fine, by the
yeah,
way?
yeah, yeah. I can still hear you. Yeah,
They've gotten so easy, and there's so many different brands now. You can choose whatever color that matches your business, whatever brand works with your stuff. But it's also expanded into different fields. Marine detailing, when I first got into it, not many detailers did it. They were scared of doing it, and I'm like, why? I rather do boats and
yeah,
cars all day long. I'm okay with one boat. I can make so much more money. The expectation with the client, it's not like the guy that has the Ferrari. The guy with the 40-foot boat, open fisherman, center console. He just wants his thing to look shiny and clean. He's not looking at the little scratches here and there. The guy with the Ferrari is looking at, oh, I got a little scratch down here on our running boards, and down here in
yeah,
the back of the bumper, all the way at the bottom, there's this little chip, man. Like, that has changed. So now detailers are in the marine industry. Now we're getting into the aviation industry, as you've seen the
yep,
past couple of years. It's growing. Um, so there's a lot of options for detailers. Uh, I know detailers that started off doing what we do, and then now all they do is PPF, or all they do is their main thing is wraps and stuff like that.
yeah,
So you have to try to grow your business and stuff. So I feel like we're healing and we're getting better, and things are going to be a little bit better, but there's still going to be some time for change. We still got some time before we think that we're all, and I don't think it ever will be perfect or a perfect industry.
no, no,
Way too, the old guys are leaving, the new guys are coming up, taking over, and
And it's a little different too. Like I've noticed a lot lately is, you have kind of that old guard, the Todds, the David Pattersons, the guys that were the forum era guys, Barry Thiel, like the forum
right,
area guys, right, that were before us, right? And then we're kind of like that Facebook era, you
yeah,
know, and they were kind of too, but like I'm
they were
noticing
in
now
the
it's like it's the TikTok crew. It's the younger kids are more on TikTok and they're coming up and they're doing these lives where they like, just put the phone up on live and do their detail,
go
and
clean wheels and stuff. Yeah,
right, and they bring all their friends on and they do like a little, it's almost like a mini podcast kind of thing on TikTok. And so I'm noticing that, you know, the TikTok crowd is kind of that new generation, that new kind of
yeah.
thing. And
And
you
like I
know,
said, they've learned from our mistakes.
right.
They go to these trainings. They're asking me questions. I just started 2, 3 years ago, and I'm sitting here. I'm like, man, 2, 3 years in, and you're already at a wet sanding class and
Yeah.
stuff. Like,
Yeah.
okay, because it took me years to even attempt or have the guts to go and try that out, and now you guys are doing it.
Yeah.
Kudos to you, and hopefully that type of mentality of I can do this without a problem keeps going, and those are the guys that will eventually be running the
Oh,
IDA and
absolutely. Dude,
training
we've got
people and stuff
we've
like
got
that.
two young kid installers. They're like 17-ish. I think one just graduated high school. He graduated early and the other one's still in.
That's awesome.
And they're hustlers, dude. They after school, they're working on cars till like 11 or 12 o'clock at night. They're working them on the weekends. And they both just reached out to me last week because we're doing a joint training at with Gloss University in July.
Cool.
And they're like, man, we want to come to that training. We want to learn the wet sanding. We want to learn the paint correction a little bit better. We want to learn how to install the coatings, maybe better, correctly, or whatever. And it's awesome because like these kids are 17. Like, they're like, the only thing is we got to figure it out because like we can't rent hotel rooms because we're too young. And like, but we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
we can drive. So they're like, we can drive there because they're not far. I think they're like 4 or 5, 6 hours or whatever from Chicago. So like we can drive there. But
That's
it's
crazy. That's awesome.
right. But like what 17-year-old is thinking about going to a 2-day training, you know, um but but they're both like, this is for my business. Like that's how they think. They go, this is going to make my business better.
Yeah.
And like you just said, they're coming to you like 2 years in, 3 years in, like I want to learn this, I want to learn that. And I think that's one of the cool things about the newer generation coming in versus trying to I think it's easier to sell the new generation coming in than
Hmm.
trying to sell the older generation because they're gonna be like,
I already.
I've been using this, and I'm the same way, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like, like I've told Metcalf a number of times, like, dude, you should have caught me before I ever tried Rupes. Because now that I've tried it and I've used it, like I'm not gonna switch. Like,
Yeah.
and he's like, I get it, man. Like it is what it is. We're still friends. Like, he helps me. I
He's
help
awesome.
him.
He's
Yeah,
awesome. People. I've been
you know,
blessed that I've worked with. I've done trainings with him,
yeah,
a couple here and there, and he's helped me out. And he knows he's been around this for so long.
yeah, exactly.
He knows what it
And I
is.
and I told him, I was like, "Look, dude, like, when I started, I got to buy Rupes at wholesale, like, which really isn't for everybody listening, like, it's not that much cheaper,
Yeah.
Like, those machines
No.
still cost a shit ton of money, but, like,
Yeah. No.
you know
They don't make their money in
no, not in
situation.
machines at
Yeah.
all. Yeah, yeah, no, I
Money's
remember.
not
I'm not sure what the markup is on it now, but I remember in my day, it was like maybe $100 difference, from
Yeah.
wholesale to
It's
retail.
usually
So
around there. Yeah.
yeah, but still, dude, $100 is $100, right? Like I'm gonna save that money if all day long. But yeah, dude, I just feel like this newer generation of detailers coming in is easier to talk to and try to sell them on or explain your product to or whatever versus the other guys. Because I mean, listen, I've got plenty of friends that have tried our product and they're like, dude, it's great, but you know, I've been with
Yeah.
insert coating brand for the last however many years, and it does what I
What
need
it
it to
needed to
do.
do.
So, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing. And I can't
I
fault them.
think no, and I think the younger generation also is benefiting from us on things like yourself, on things like what you do.
Yeah,
I didn't have any podcasts
yeah,
before. I would go on YouTube and rewatch old videos because that's all there was.
yeah,
And once social media really took off, and I would say the peak was like 2019, 2020
yeah,
was really when it just started booming because everybody's like, well, I'm at home now, COVID, and I'm going to get online and talk to people and
yeah.
do YouTube videos on how to do this and that. Um, this younger generation is now like, oh, I could do that. I mean, that was
That's
me when
that's
I
all they
first
do,
started.
anyways.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
dude,
they're
my,
on,
my
and
daughter
they're
lives on TikTok. Like,
I know I
I
hear you complain about it all the time.
yeah, I'm like, like, don't you
You're
get
such a
tired?
loser.
Get tired of scrolling? Like,
No,
like.
no, no.
But
I
but
don't.
listen, but I get caught up in it too some days, like when I'm just doom scrolling,
I'm more of a doom scroller on Facebook and Instagram.
yeah,
I'm not on TikTok, and for that reason because I do not need something else
yeah.
to take 4 or 5 hours of my day.
See,
Um,
I'll be honest with you. I prefer TikTok these days to Instagram and Facebook just because I enjoy the people that have um that have creative vision on TikTok. So the people that do like the funny little skits,
yeah,
the people that are creating like these original content type things that are funny or just like, hey, that was pretty cool. Like I like it for that, and I feel like you don't get that on Facebook, you don't get it on Instagram. I mean, Facebook is just like, hey, here's my kid at their event, here's a picture of me at the family whatever,
yeah.
and Instagram is kind of like, look at my ass, like look at my titties, look at my
Look how
food that I
cool my
made.
car is.
Right,
It's like a show.
exactly.
It's like you could tell it's all bullshit on there.
Right, exactly. And I feel like TikTok is just kind of like it's more creative.
More
Like
creative. Yeah.
because I feel like on TikTok, in order to get it, you have to be creative. You just can't be on there and be like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
kind of thing.
This is me.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
is. I always saw it, and I always felt like I have some type of creative mind when it comes to that type of stuff. But I just, it's too much sometimes.
Yeah,
I stick with more with Facebook because of the community.
yeah,
The detail community is huge there,
yeah,
to where there's different forums, groups. Um, we're all friends. We can all see each other's lives and stuff like that, like you said.
yeah.
But at the same time, also see our work and things
Right.
like that. Instagram, there's not much interaction there.
No, no.
It's
It's
not
it's
like
just
the
like
huge
it, scroll,
thing.
like it, scroll, like it,
Like
scroll.
scroll,
Yeah,
maybe leave a comment. Is
yeah,
anyone going to see your comment? Probably not.
yeah.
You know,
Because you actually have to click on it to have the drop down to be able to even see the comments.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
at
So
least
it's
on Facebook, you're right. Like if you're commenting on Facebook, at least the comments are kind of,
right.
there you can kind
And
of
then you
read
can
some of the
add
comments.
pictures and you can add
Yeah.
videos and you can interact a little bit different. Um, so I do use a lot of Facebook still. It is the largest.
Yeah. Listen,
It's the largest out of
it's
all of them.
exactly. I mean, I'm obviously still on it because, I mean, that's a way for me to, keep in contact with friends and family, and especially the friends that I made from this podcast around the world, right? Like,
Yeah.
I got to be able to
Yeah, I think I talk to you more on
yeah.
Facebook
Oh yeah. I mean, dude,
and do these
I talk to
podcasts.
everybody more on Facebook than I do, probably on the phone anymore.
Yeah,
Um, you know, it's easier that way, and I still like, I mean, I still have it. I mean, obviously for the podcast to post things about the podcast, or, the links for when the new episodes drop and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely, like, between the three, there's pluses and minuses for both of them. But yeah, when I'm doom scrolling nowadays, it's more so on TikTok, just because I'm looking for, to be entertained, especially if there's nothing on TV, that I want to watch. I'm looking to be entertained, and I feel like I can get that
or
on
TV,
TikTok.
huh? TV is
Yeah.
just it's becoming ancient.
I know, man. But I'll tell you what, man, there's, some of these streaming channels are really creating awesome content,
Yeah,
um, that keeps me in. Apple TV, in the beginning, I was like, God, what are they gonna do? And now it's like every time one show ends, another great one starts.
yeah.
Um, same thing with Paramount.
The
Um,
only thing I have issue with that is that we left our cable
uh-huh.
because it was so expensive, and you had
Yeah,
to
I
purchase
know.
all these
But then by
product
the time you do all the
these
streaming
channels.
services, you're paying just as much as
And
cable.
now it's like you have, oh, I want to watch that show. Oh, you got to download this. It's
Yep.
only on Netflix. And you're
Yep.
like, wait, okay, well, I got Netflix. Cool. I want to watch that show too. Oh, well, now you need to get Max, and now you
Yeah.
get Paramount, and you need to
Yeah.
get this and Disney Channel. It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Like my bill is
Or
more than
what happens is two of them merge and you don't know about it. So now you're paying, because that happened to me. Dude, I was paying double on Peacock, because I was, apparently it was, merged through, one of the other apps, I forget, but I was paying double on it. I was paying double on Max because Max merged with Hulu, and I was paying for HBO on Hulu, and then I was paying for Max.
oh,
So I was doubled up on Peacock. I was doubled up on Max, and then there was something else I was doubled up on, because I remember talking to the people on Hulu, and I was like, "Wait, but I'm paying this other app, and I'm paying you guys for it." And they're like, "Yeah." And they're like, just cancel paying it on the app, because
yeah.
bundled with us, it's cheaper or whatever. So
And they
yeah,
don't care because at the end
no,
of the day, I mean, that's stuff that there's not. Yeah, you have to produce the content,
yeah,
but once you got the content, I
yeah,
mean, you just got to upload it and make sure your servers and everything's running right.
yeah, yeah. You
And they just
can't
and
have
they
Netflix like that Jake Paul Tyson fight where
that was a disaster. But guess what? Everybody was on it.
yeah, exactly.
Everybody watched it. So people
And
that
they
didn't
made
have
so
Netflix
much
were like,
money off of it. Yeah,
and those people that didn't have Netflix and just got it for that fight are probably still paying their membership.
oh, of course.
Because
Yeah,
it's a crazy world, and we're transitioning into different stuff. But it's
yeah,
awesome because I feel like a lot of us adapt pretty well. If you don't, you're out.
yeah.
You got to
I mean,
adapt.
it's just like your T-shirt you're wearing right there. I mean, that first guy on that side's
I
not
feel
really
like I'm
around.
right still around here in
Yeah,
the social media part of it. But this guy's got his stuff taken.
yeah,
He's got his stuff together. This
yeah,
is a cool shirt. Actually, is one of my favorite shirts to
yeah.
wear.
I like that
Um,
shirt when they came out with it. I thought that was pretty cool.
yeah, this they're very smart on their end. I will give our marketing team kudos because they do a very good job of branding
Yeah,
the brand.
I'll
And
tell you, the one thing I was kind of a little disappointed with, and it never happened, so I guess it was never a big deal. I don't know if I ever talked to you about this, but it was in the works before the whole debacle last year with my co-host. Um, I was in planning with Sarah. We were going to do and and I don't know how we were going to word it, because Rupes is just so, like, strict with their wording. but I wanted it to be a Detail Solutions podcast experience at Rupes.
Okay.
And I pitched it to Sarah as like basically the Joe Rogan intro, right? Train all day, podcast at night, right? And so I pitched it to Sarah as like, look, I wanna do a training at as Detail Solutions podcast where whoever can come will train all day with Jason Rose and Sarah, and then we'll podcast at night,
Right.
round table, live. I said the only thing is I want to be able to have Jason Rose at least for an hour outside of the training that we can all sit in a circle and
Talk.
and
Talk
talk,
shop.
right? Because when I went to the content creator event in Chicago that one time,
I
the
remember that.
last day that we were there, everybody was at breakfast, and Jason came down and he sat down and he was asking us questions. We were asking him questions. It
It was
was
cool.
cool. It was cool because it was chill, because it wasn't like, he didn't have to be on, right? Like he was just curious about everything. And so I told Sarah, I said, even if it's got to be outside of the Rupes thing for him to just be Jason Rose and be chill. And she's like, "Oh, you give that man a bag of Reese's Pieces and he'll sit there all night." And I was like, "Done deal. Bring Reese's Pieces." Um, and so that's what I wanted to do. But I wanted to make a T-shirt where it was Kong and Bigfoot like snowboarding or skiing down the mountain, and Sarah's like, "Oh, that's pretty cool, but I don't think we can do it." And I'm like, "Why?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Because they're really tight about the Bigfoot." And I'm like, "But Bigfoot's Bigfoot. Like, like I mean, Bigfoot's Bigfoot. You like, I mean, I guess like y'all's version of Bigfoot,
Yeah.
and so I said, well, just run it up the ladder and see, let them know, because it would be something that like wasn't sold. It would be like the
I,
T-shirt you get for the event, and I
I
guess
wouldn't. I wouldn't shut the door on that just yet. We are trying to become a little bit more. Um, we're trying to have more of a presence on social media,
okay,
specifically on YouTube.
yeah,
So we're filming a lot of content for YouTube right now, where we think our client, it's going to help our clientele. Short demos, short stuff, but get to know us as well and know the trainers and know the people. So I wouldn't say that,
yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
Well, the
Um,
shirt the shirt was only kind of shot down. The rest of the event was fine. Like
right.
we were in trying to figure out planning, and and of course, like all this stuff happened, and Sarah said, "Hey, look, we're still good as long as that person's not there." And I was like, "Well, obviously that person's no longer part of the podcast, so yeah, definitely won't be there." Um,
Which
but
I
what?
would tell you, kudos to you for pushing through the whole
Well, thank you, man. I
situation and
appreciate that.
making
Yeah.
you're still going forward and growing,
Yeah,
and it's
trying to,
awesome.
man. Listen, this is a fun thing, dude. I mean, like sitting here and having this conversation with you is just a fun thing for me to do once a
That's
week.
cool.
Um, and I've really kind of gotten to the point now where I don't care if it does numbers or doesn't do numbers. Like it's fun to do. I have a loyal listenership. They listen to it every week religiously, and they're kind of the ones that I'm doing it for now. Like,
Nice.
and for me, because again, this is
You enjoy it.
it is, dude. It's a fun time, and
No,
that's why
I think this is fun.
I don't put a time limit on it anymore. It goes for what it goes. I don't really have it's just conversational. Um, but yeah, I mean, the other thing that kind of where I just kind of dropped the ball with Sarah that was right around the time last year, like right after NTV and everything, and trainings were just hard to sell.
Yeah.
Like everybody was having problems
I
selling a
think
training.
even now, trainings are still a little bit difficult.
Yeah,
I've seen a trend a lot lately where trainings have dropped in prices,
yeah,
to even where some trainings are free.
yeah,
Um, and I think as a manufacturer, that makes sense. Rupes doesn't care about
Yeah,
running
yeah,
a training
yeah.
and charging you for it. We
Right,
don't. We
right.
we are very confident that we know that we can put the tools in your hand, put the products in your hand. You you will teach you how to use it, and you'll get results.
Yeah.
I don't want you to pay me, $1,000. Come out here and just to learn one tool, this and that. No.
Right, right, exactly.
Obviously, there's different events that we do charge for, where we go very in depth, and it's really just to cover our costs because we're not making money on a
Well, and
training
it's
event.
it's not expensive to have Jason Rose sitting in a building for 2 days or 3 days either, like, when he could be out, all over the world,
Well,
selling
no,
selling
Jason
stuff.
Rose will tell you, he does not mind doing them.
Oh,
He
no,
does.
no, he absolutely
He
loves it. Dude, that's
like
his
on our end, like we get paid to do our job,
yeah,
right? Whether our job is to go on a training and train people wherever it is, that's what we get paid for.
yeah,
So whether we're making money on that training or not, I don't see any of it. I'm being taken care of. I have no issues.
yeah,
Um, and neither does he. It's just so long as we can create that relationship with that client, and keep that client for life, that's the most important thing for
yeah,
us.
exactly.
So I do see a trend to where now a lot of events will be either cheaper or, and I'm not talking specifically with us, I'm talking in general
Yeah,
with a
in
lot of
general,
training,
yeah.
other brands that I've talked to. And I said, you know what? You'll benefit more from bringing in 20, 30 people into a training, for free
Yeah,
versus charging each one 1,000, and more than likely you're going to only end up getting 3, 4 people coming into that
yeah.
event.
And that's why the couple events that we've done, I mean, the 2 we did with Noxie and then the one we got coming up with Gloss University, the way we look at it is we would rather partner with with a training event, um, so that the because again, like, I mean,
Things
we've all
cost
kind of
money. Things
right,
cost
and
money.
we've all kind of been there, right? Like the coding company's charging me, X amount of dollars to get certified or whatever, right? Like, so we'd rather, say like, look, an experience at Noxie's, you can you can come do that for 1,200 bucks and then also get, certified with Aquatech coding,
Hmm.
and let's face it, a training at Noxie's is typically like 3 grand.
Yeah.
So because we do it as a package deal, we're able to sell it cheaper, and you go get your mind blown by Noxie. Same thing with Gloss University. We're partnering with Gloss University, so, hey, you come do the Gloss University experience with Dave and Maddie, and then while you're there, we're going to teach you some ceramic coating stuff and you can get certified with Aquatech coatings. Like that's the kind of the way we look at it versus, hey, here's an Aquatech coating training,
Pay,
come, yeah,
pay me
come
seven
learn.
hundred
Yeah,
dollars.
come learn how to put
Get
a coating
certified.
on that you already know how to do, and and thank you for your money, kind of
Um,
thing.
and I get it. Look, because running these trainings is not an easy
It's
thing.
not. It's not.
There's money goes into
Yeah.
it. Time goes into it. Um, it's not a guarantee that the clientele that's coming to the training
Yeah.
is also going to be purchasing your products in the long run.
Yeah.
They may use it here and there, and then out of nowhere say, "Nah, I'll go back to the other brand I was working on." So at that point, it's like, let's just get more people in. Let's show them. Let's teach them. I don't want anything else from you. Just
Yeah.
show up and give me your undivided attention. Let
Yeah.
me help your business. And that's the other thing. Like most detailers, some do have the money, not many do.
No. No, they
And
don't.
so many logistics come into place where now I got to get a flight. And, we deal with that a lot at the BFA at the Bigfoot Academy, where it's difficult for people to get to Denver. It's not
Yeah.
an easy thing. Um, do I think that detailers should take the initiative and try to at least experience it once in their life? time.
Absolutely.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
The moment I went for my first Rupes training, it changed. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
I went in there like, I know how to do whatever, everything. I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
I know how
And
to
then you
use this.
realize
I don't
you've
know
been
that.
doing it wrong the
And
whole
then,
time.
and then Jason's like, "Shh, sit down,
Yeah.
take a seat. You're about to learn something."
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I'm
you're gonna learn today.
you're gonna learn today. And it was that I learned, and to the point where I remember at one point of the class, I got up and I told them, I'm like, I just want to be with the guys that are here, that don't have the experience that I do, but and I've been to other trainings with other brands and tons of stuff. This is something that I came away learning from it. Like,
Yeah.
it was beneficial. I thought I was doing certain things the right way, and I wasn't. And not necessarily saying that it's wrong, but using the system in the way they approach on why the system is the way it is blew my mind,
Yeah.
because I was under the impression of something else. And when he taught me certain things, I remember with the one specific thing that I had learned, that it's a big topic in the industry, is um, stalling.
Yeah.
When machines stall, oh, it's not working, it's not doing this,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting here. Oh yeah, when it stalls, you just gotta ramp up that speed, and or grab your rotary, or I don't know, but it's not good when it stalls. And
Yeah.
he told me, he goes, well, what is a dual action? And I'm like, it's a machine that has two actions. He's
Mhm.
like, right. So what are the actions? And I'm like, well, it goes like this all over the place, right? And he
Yeah.
goes, yes, that's called the orbital action.
Yep.
What's the other one? And I'm like, well, doesn't it spin? And he's like, yes, that's called the rotational act, right?
Yeah.
So if the rotational stops,
It's still
what's left?
it's still orbiting.
The, the orbital movement's
Yeah.
still there. And I was
Yeah.
like, huh. He goes, that still consists for like 30% of your cutting.
Yeah.
So you're not doing
Actually, I
100%
think it's
cutting.
actually I think it's less than that. I think when he came on the podcast, I said I
Was it
think he said
17% or
I
something like that?
no, I think he said it's only like a 12% like
You're
drop
making me
in.
look bad here because this is things that
Yeah.
I'm supposed to know. All right.
I'm just trying to remember from the podcast, but I believe what he said was it was a 12% drop in efficiency.
Right.
So you still have
You
like that
still
88.
have a
Yeah. Yeah.
percentage that's
Yeah, you still
working.
have a huge percent that's
Well, that
still
blew my
running.
mind.
Yeah.
That day I was like, really? And then he taught me on how to approach that issue. If I'm having that issue, okay, well, maybe you need to crank up your speed more,
Yeah.
add a little bit more pressure. Let's get it rotating. And then he proved it to me on hands on,
Mhm.
which to me was like, whoa, okay. You know, I never thought of it like that. I just thought it wasn't working. So I went and I would get a smaller machine,
Yeah.
smaller orbit that, and he goes, that's perfectly fine. But not everybody has access to a smaller
Right.
orbit machine. So what do
Yeah.
you do at that point? You quit? And I'm like, no. He's like, this is what you do. And that right there, just that little bit of information in those 3 days that I was
Yeah.
there,
Oh, it changes everything.
changed my mind,
Yeah.
blew my mind.
Yeah.
And so I do encourage people to, if they can, learn as much as you can from everyone, as much
Yeah.
as you can. If you can afford it, go for it. Um, but I think as manufacturers, we're also realizing that a lot of these events, they do cost us money, a lot of money. Um, but it's going to be beneficial in the long run to reach out and try to show people without having to charge them to learn something,
Yeah.
which is why we're moving more into the YouTube videos, so that we can get that information that we need them to learn it for our system on an platform that everybody uses and that it's
Yeah.
free,
Yeah.
right?
And that's
So
the other thing too, I think, like, kinda moving forward, especially with this newer, younger generation is they don't do well in, you know, spaces with people.
yeah,
So, and I know it's hard because I mean, yeah, you could show me on a video, hey, Alex, this is how you hold a machine. You go up and forth, you back and, all this other stuff.
Some people need that hands on.
But there's a lot of difference. I mean, you got to know, arm speed, arm pressure,
Yeah.
pad pressure, like all that stuff. And like what you were saying about going back to the stalling was I remember talking to Todd way back when about it. And Todd would tell me instead of doing like what Jason Rose said, neither, you know, giving it more pressure to kick it back in or speed it up to get it to kick back in. Todd told me, look at how you're holding the machine. Nine
Mm,
times out of 10, you're probably off balance of the machine. You're holding
mhm.
it tilted one way, or you're too heavy on the handle. So the front is lifting up.
Right.
So just look how you're holding it and reposition. And that's when I hit that stalling. That's what I do is I go, oh, okay, yeah, I'm leaning a little
Reposition.
too heavy on this way. I'm pulling it down on the handle a little bit too much this way. Let me get it back even. And it's funny. I even showed it to Jason Rose at MTE because since we were hanging out for the whole show in the paint correction booth, somebody had sent me a video because I had talked about it enough on the podcast. Somebody sent me a video of a tool company that made a drill, and instead of having like the little bubble leveler on it, when you're drilling,
Mhm.
it had an LED ring. So if you were off, it would light up
Light up.
red where you were off, right? And
That's
so
cool.
I told Jason because I had said this to Dylan, before he left. I told Dylan, I was like, man, you guys got to put one of those little levelers on top of the machine. And it's on the podcast. So if Rupes ever comes out with it, you guys know who started it. But I did show Jason. I said, hey, you guys need to figure out how to put these little LED lights on the machine. So if you're rocked to the right too much or rocked to the left too much or too top heavy or too bottom heavy, like the thing goes red, and then you can like rebalance it to get it back. Because that's all I do is I just go like, oh, it's stalling out. Where am I too heavy or where am I angling it wrong? And then I correct and then it starts
Right.
working again.
I do know the Nano has a feature like that, to
Uh-huh.
where if you apply too much pressure, it will blink red,
Okay,
or
yeah, I
and
have seen that. Yeah,
they'll
yeah,
shut off on you.
yeah.
Or if you hold the vents, the
And it
machine
starts to
starts warming
overheat or
up.
whatever.
It
Yeah,
automatically will shut off so it
yeah,
doesn't burn it out.
yeah. Safety feature.
But
Yeah,
that is a great. That's a good idea. I'm gonna
yeah.
use that. I'm gonna put that in the
Yeah, listen,
suggestion box.
listen, right ahead. We've got, dude. I've mentioned it on a number of podcasts over the last 2.5 years.
Don't
So
worry. I'll make sure you get the
we,
credit.
we all know where it came from. Listen, fuck the credit, bro. I want the money. I want a percentage. Y'all can
Don't
take the
we
credit.
all?
Just divvy out some checks every now and then.
Oh man. Well, I'll put that in the suggestion box. That's probably
Yeah,
gonna get thrown
yeah,
out on
yeah.
there.
Send Alex some checks for the yeah,
They'll be like, "We'll send him some stuff."
yeah,
Well, you just told them that we received a whole bunch of pads, so
yeah. That's
they're
true,
like,
man.
"Hey, there
Hey,
goes your
listen,
pay.
listen,
That was your pay."
listen. As expensive as those pads are, I'll take that too, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah.
So, where are you heading into now? With the Detail Solutions podcast.
Well, I mean,
What's your?
the podcast is still going to do what the podcast is going to do. I mean, it's
But you got some great ideas, like that whole
I mean,
roundtable
ho-
discussion. That is
hopefully,
cool.
yeah,
I don't think you
hopefully.
should close the book on that. I think
I
that
don't think it's closed. I think, I'll be real honest with you. With everything that happened at the beginning of last year, it really took the wind out of the sails. Like I wasn't sure if I was going to continue doing the podcast, and not because of not having somebody to do it with me, but because there was a significant drop off in listenership because
Mhm.
of that whole situation. And I don't know if it was because of
The
the situation that
situation,
happened. I don't
or
know if it just, people kind of are just getting done with podcasts, or there's so many out there now and it's, whatever. Um, so I wasn't sure what I was going to do, man. Like, honestly, like I was kind of month to month with with the advertising in a sense,
Yeah.
because like I needed the advertisement to be able to run all. I mean, like Restream's not cheap. The Canva's not cheap. The other thing, I mean, there's like 3 or 4 different things that I use that probably cost, over the course of a year to be able to put the podcast together, cost me probably $400 or $500, which is not a ton, but
But it's still 500,
it's,
400,
yeah,
500
it's not
bucks.
money that I really have to spend to be able to
Right.
put the podcast out. Um, so I wasn't sure, dude. And I'll be honest with you, like I got to the end of the year and I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. It's been 4.5 years at January, and I think I'm just done. I think, honestly, like my goal was, and you can't really see it. Um, there we go. My goal was always been that right
I
there,
know.
you
I
know.
see it.
Um, and I got shafted on it last year, because of the whole situation. Technically won it, couldn't get it. So my goal was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep it rolling
Into,
until
I get it.
MTE to try and win that, you know. And then, hey guys, thanks. It's been awesome. Lights out, right off into the sunset. Um, and winning
That
that
didn't sit. That didn't sit right with you, though, huh?
winning that, dude, it rejuvenated me a little bit. and
That's
and I
awesome.
said, okay, here's how I'm gonna do it. No advertising. That way, if I miss an episode, fuck it. I don't care. I'm not like, oh my god, like they paid for X amount of episodes, and yeah,
Yeah.
And I said, I'm just gonna have fun with it again. Like I'm gonna do the just the conversational, like keep it conversational. Just talk about whatever. I'm gonna talk to new people. I'm gonna talk to old people. I don't really want to do topics, unless it's a really good one. Somebody comes to me with a topic, I'm not gonna think up topics anymore.
Right.
Um, and in March, Michelle was like, listen, it looks like you're going to keep doing this. And I said, yeah, it's kind of fun. She goes, good, get some advertisement because this shit ain't cheap. And I just so happened that Greg had messaged me from Detailed Image, and he's like, hey
Hmm.
man, like we're thinking about doing it again. Like, what's up? And I was like, buddy, you're at the right time. I was like, the wife just told me I need to make some money on this. So I did a deal with Greg that covers the bills, and I'm only advertising Detailed Image right now.
Okay.
And it keeps Michelle happy because it pays all the bills for all the subscription shit. And I don't have to feel obligated to like all these different brands
Brands. Yeah.
for advertising, right? So I don't know, when the Greg paid for a quarter, so for Q2, so when Q3 comes around, we'll see. If anybody else is interested, maybe we'll keep it going and switch it up. You know the it's kind of like like every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in, because that's really how it is, dude. Every
Yeah.
time I kind of think like, man, I'm kind of over it, I want to stop, like somebody will message me and be like, hey man, dude, that podcast was awesome, like please don't stop, I love listening to it, like great that was a good one. Like the one I did last week with Walt about using Chat GPT. Dude, I got like 5 or 6 messages from different people like, dude, I
That's
never I
awesome.
never thought about using Chat GPT like that, like thanks for doing that thing. The one I did a month ago with the guy that was talking about the vacation giveaways and
Yeah, I saw
stuff.
that one. Yeah.
Dude, I got people messaging me from that, like, hey, that was a great idea, I didn't think about that, like as giveaways to versus slashing prices, let me do a giveaway,
Yeah.
kind of deal. So
And
um
that's probably where I think we were talking about the new generation coming up,
yeah,
having that type of um, encyclopedia, let's say,
yeah,
of knowledge that we need, because it's we're not everywhere. We don't,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you're connecting all of us together with this, and it's awesome.
yeah. No, I appreciate that, man.
People look forward to it, and I think you've done a great job since,
Thank you.
even with the the rough patches and stuff.
Yeah.
I will not lie. I thought, I'm like, oh, there's the end of that.
Yeah.
You know,
I think a lot of
that
people did. I
sucks.
mean, myself included, because I was like, man, like, what's, like the tar and feathering that I kind of got from it because, by association,
Yeah,
was tough. But I will say that, you know, for as shitty as it was that it happened, pretty much right at MTE, it was great because the love and support that I got
you
at
knew,
MTE really
right?
helped me. I think if that would have been at any other time of the year and I wouldn't have had that, like,
Interaction with those
right,
people right away.
everybody coming up to me like, "Hey, man, are you good? Are you okay? Like, we're behind you. Like, we got your back. Anything you need." I think would have been a different story. I think I would have just pulled the plug on it right then and there. But
Yeah,
because it did happen when it happened and right before MTE and I had all that support. I mean, even to this day, dude, people still ask me, "Hey, are you doing okay with it? How's it, how's it going?" But yeah, I mean, as far as the podcast goes, dude, like I always said it from the beginning, as long as it's fun and as long as somebody's listening, I'll continue to do it. And so when I feel like it becomes not fun again, like it kind of was for me last year, I just have to find that purpose. I have to find that transition. And
right.
what kind of started making it fun last year was when I switched to kind of like this, and I'll always say it and give kind of the credit for it is this Joe Rogan approach of just, hit the record button before the guest comes on and just have a talk,
Yeah,
you know.
have a
No
chat.
no questions, no topics. Let's just, kind of talk. And then, if it goes an hour, great. If it goes 2 hours and 21 minutes like we are now,
It seemed like we've been talking
yeah,
for like 40 minutes,
right,
and it's like,
exactly.
holy cow, it's already
Yeah,
2:20.
exactly, yeah, so I don't know, man. We'll see. I mean, the beauty of Aquatech is Mike and Jason kind of know that this is my thing, and so they don't, put any limitations on how I do this or what I do with this. I mean, obviously they know that I'm gonna hype the brand anyway, so it's gonna get some
Publicity,
mentions and yeah,
exposure.
and everything. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, as long as it's fun and as long as people are listening, I'll keep doing it. Hopefully Aquatech will take off in the next year or so to where I'm not having to do as much in the shop, which,
Right.
will just mean that this will be more fun because I won't be in the shop as much. So I'll,
You'll be able to
have,
focus more on this.
yeah,
And you got good ideas. I think just that one little idea you gave me can tell me that you probably brainstorming all the time, coming up with different
yeah. I
ideas
mean, I
and things.
try. I mean, obviously everything changes. I mean, that's, I kind of, it was funny because, you might have seen I was playing around with ChatGPT and the cartoon characters of me and Noxie and and everything. But
You
you
and
know,
everyone else right
yeah,
now.
yeah. Dude, listen, I started a whole Instagram. Dude, I'm creating a whole like detail universe with characters from people that I know in the industry.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I have ChatGPT, like I give ChatGPT like a very generic background on somebody and then have ChatGPT create their character, like give them a different name, like their background is kind of loosely based off of them, create a cartoon image of them and everything. But yeah, dude,
I haven't played with it. I
I
think somebody made one of me on a training there that I was like, wait, is that me? Holy cow. I'm like, what the heck?
well, I did the other day I was playing around with it and I said I wanted to copy the Concaster image. So I said make me an image of King Kong wearing headphones, screaming into a or roaring into a microphone, and it created that image. You might have seen it. I posted it up,
I
and I
don't
was
think
like,
I
man,
did.
that's.
I'll
I
look
was
at it.
like, that's badass. So then what I did was I took that image and then I took the the headphone logo,
Hmm.
that was in the original one, and I put them into ChatGPT together, and I said, "Can you now put the podcast logo on the side of the headphones?" and so it recreated that Kong with the podcast logo on the headphones, just like the T-shirt. And I
Oh,
put
that's
that
cool.
back up, and that kind of like reignited the Concaster thing, because then people were like, dude, that's badass, that's killer. God, I forget who it was, and please, I apologize, but one of the mafia guys was like, "Is that going to be the next T-shirt?" And I was like, I don't know, like I don't know if I'm doing T-shirts anymore or whatever, but it was just cool, like like to have that, and so I've really have utilized ChatGPT a lot to help me with the podcast, as far as like trying to think up new ideas or new ways of
Yeah.
doing it or promoting it and everything. Um, so yeah, man, we'll
Keep
see how it
going,
goes,
man.
dude.
Keep going. They're
July will
fun.
be yeah, July will be 5 years since I started it. So
5 years.
yeah,
Holy
because it was 2020 when I started, middle of
Yo,
2020.
damn, time's
So
flying way too fast. I think the
right,
older we're getting, the less time we have
I know.
that it feels. I don't. And it, like lately, I've been noticing that it's like once it's 1 o'clock, the next thing I know, it's 7 o'clock,
Yeah,
and I'm like, wait, what happened to the past 6, 7 hours?
yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, why is this happening? Like, I remember when I was younger, it would take forever to just be nighttime. Now
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
nighttime. Boom.
yeah,
But I guess that's part of growing, and when you're
yeah,
busy and you're enjoying life too, you got a lot of things going on, specifically you with the kid and the
yeah,
wife, and that type of stuff. Just you get the business, and then you got social media, and next thing you know, time just flies when you're
yeah.
having fun,
It
right?
all disappears, dude. It's
I
you
guess the
know,
only time it doesn't fly is when we're working.
yeah, yeah. Well, but even then, sometimes it does seem to fly by, because sometimes I'll be working and I'll feel like I'm working on a panel forever, and I look up and I'm like, oh shit, it's been like this many hours, and I'm actually like halfway around the car or whatever.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
almost done.
yeah, yeah. Um,
But that's awesome, and like it just things change, and I guess as we get older, we start appreciating the time more, and we start realizing that we're older and we don't have much time left.
exactly.
So now you really gotta enjoy what you got and what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
No, and it's I'll quote the famous Ferris Bueller line. What is it? Life moves pretty fast.
fast,
If you don't stop and look around once in a while. So
it might just pass you.
exactly.
That's a
Yeah.
great movie, by the way.
I know. I
That
know.
is a
It's awesome.
classic.
It's
I
awesome.
think they need to remake that. If they're gonna remake every movie out there, might as
Oh,
well
dude, I don't know,
bring
man.
bring me
I
a
think
new
that's
one
I
of
think that's
that.
one of the ones they shouldn't touch, man. They should
You're right. You're
they should
right.
just leave
Maybe
it.
not. Well, we
Yeah.
got a new Happy Gilmore coming out, and I was kind of
Yeah.
like, I don't know how I feel about that because the original it's
I
just a
know.
golden
Yeah,
classic.
it was so good. Yeah.
Is this
I
gonna
don't
be
know, man.
better?
I feel like there's been some like sequels that have hit, and in some sequels it was just like, oh man, they should have just not
Left it
done. Yeah,
alone,
yeah,
and it's been
you know,
happening more. I think it's more of you should have left it alone than
yeah,
thanks for making another one because that was
right,
great. I
yeah,
think I think they should have just, but it's
it,
something like now in this world. I think is people are bringing it back because people our age that grew up with it are in
yeah,
control and say no, we need to make a remake on that.
yeah,
That
exactly,
would be awesome.
exactly, yeah. And I
Um,
don't know. There's two that I've heard um that are getting sequels that I'm like excited but nervous for, and that's Breakfast Club and Goonies.
I saw that. I saw
Yeah,
that just I think on social media the other
yeah,
day.
because
Goonies too.
yeah, Goonies too, and the Breakfast Club too, and they've got everybody from the Breakfast Club. Like they had everybody. I saw a real short clip of it,
Oh, they
and they had
better not ruin my Goonies, man. They
they had
better
the
not
whole
ruin it.
yeah, they had the whole cast from the Breakfast Club, and they were talking
I
about,
saw that.
like, they're getting ready to do the movie. Oh, the other one too is Young Guns. Like, I heard they're doing another Young Guns.
Yeah. I even heard
Which
they're thinking about doing another Back to the Future.
nah, that one's
But
there's always rumors about that, but
yeah,
they've said the guys who actually wrote the movie and still own the rights to it have said
Mosquito.
never. They said they will not do a part four. And
Good.
they own the rights to it. So like a movie company couldn't say like, well, we're just gonna make it anyways because we own it,
No.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
no.
So yeah,
Well,
so I don't know, but
there's a lot of things changing, and
yeah,
like you said, it's moving fast.
yeah,
Let's
exactly,
stop and look at it.
exactly. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you for doing this. It's good. It's getting kind of almost past dinner time. I don't know if you've eaten yet,
No,
but
I was supposed to be in the gym like at 6:30,
yeah. So that
and
didn't
before
happen.
I eat.
Yeah.
But I
So,
do appreciate you
oh,
bringing me on. I
yeah.
saw you posted, and I was like, you know what? I haven't been on there in a
You
long
haven't, and
time.
so I'm glad you posted that because I was like, man, if like if I can't get some, if because I always try to like bring new people on before I
Right.
bring people that I've talked before. But I was like, but I'm glad you did that because I was like, man, I haven't talked to G in a while, and the whole Rupes thing. I'm so proud of him and happy for him. Like, and then Walt hit me with like the Chat GBT thing. So I was like, fuck, let me do that first. So that's why I wanted to reach out to you and be like, hey man, are you still down? Let's do it this week, versus pushing it off. So no, I'm glad.
I'm glad. Yeah, and
Would you message, man? I'm glad we had this chance to kind of reconnect. I know we're always like running around the expos together and chatting
dude, I
on
think I see you
social,
at
but
either at the end for a few minutes here and there. We'll
yeah,
talk, we'll chat,
yeah,
and then it's like expos. I feel bad because a lot of times I feel like the expos, I feel like I'm rude to people, but I'm
yeah,
not trying to. It's just I have so much to do and so much to talk about, and I'm sure you're the same way. So it's
yeah.
one of those
And it's
things
and
that,
it's tougher, especially now when you're part of a brand and you're kind of stuck in a booth versus being able to
yeah,
like walk the floor and talk to everybody.
yeah. The
So
past MTE was my first MTE, well, my second MTE that I was at a booth the entire
yeah,
time, which was cool. Getting to see all I have received. Before we go, I just want to let
yeah,
people that have supported me. And once I got on board with Rupez, the amount of love and support from people that I've known for years now was tremendous. It was very humbling. It made me feel fantastic because it showed that people cared and that they were interested and that they were truly happy for me.
yeah,
So I do want to thank a lot of those, and I want to thank you as well for the support and all that. And hopefully the next time we'll talk, it be some other big news or something going on for
yeah,
either one of
exactly.
us. So
Yeah.
keep,
Listen,
keep
you
doing your
can
thing, man.
anytime you want to come and spill the secrets about what's in the vault, like you know where to come,
The day I do that will be the day that I won't be working with them anymore.
Yeah.
And but I will try to give you guys some insight here and there.
Yeah.
And all I can say is that it's in our name.
Yeah.
We evolve. If this shirt says anything,
Yeah.
we're
I know
always
you
growing into
usually
something bigger.
usually whenever I have Jason on and I ask him about it, he's like, well, I could tell you, but then I'd have to
I have to
kill
kill
you.
you. Yeah, I know. He says that all the time. I'm not gonna kill anyone, but
Yeah. I know.
I can't tell you. But all I can say is that with the team that we have and the people uh, in charge of management, marketing, everyone that's involved, we all have a say in what's coming in, and not a say, but we all get to express our opinions.
Yeah.
And if something is new that's coming out, just know that we've argued and busted our balls and we've been at each other, and people have made their they have their mentality set on certain things and stuff,
Yeah.
but we always come together, compromise, and when it's released, it's we've done our homework. We've really they do take it very seriously. So all I can say is that new things are always on the horizon, and they're always going to be bigger and better. So
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome,
Well,
man.
thanks for having me again, bro.
Yeah,
God
man.
bless you.
No, I'm glad.
Um,
I'm glad you came on and did this, man. I really appreciate
thank
it.
you.
It was good catching up with you, and
Enjoy your
go-
Easter weekend, man.
yeah, you do the same. Spend some time with the fam before you're jetting off
Yeah,
again.
but
So,
that's part of the job. So
yeah,
we'll see each other soon, hopefully at the
hopefully,
end of the year.
yeah,
If I'm in Orlando, I will definitely be. I'll hit you up again and
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
meet
Let me
up.
know.
And I got to get some of those Azure pads in your
Yeah,
hands so you can try those intermediate ones. They're really badass. You're gonna like
yeah.
it.
No, let me
Um,
know. I know.
for
I
the
know.
ones,
I know Jason and Mike were kind of looking at him at MTE last year. Yeah, MTE last year because they're kind of Aquatech blue or teal.
yeah, yeah.
And Alberto was like, "Yeah, we can white label them for you." So
Well, that's one of the things that we do that not a lot of people know about, but
yeah,
we can manufacture any color, any size, whatever you need,
yeah,
and whatever preference you want. So, anyone listening out there that's ever thought about it, reach out to us. Julio Mondragon is a fantastic guy behind all that stuff, and he can guide you in that right direction. And we got other stuff coming in soon too in that side of the market
nice.
in the private labeling. So it's growing, it's growing. So, but I'll definitely get some of those in your hands, and you
Yeah, no, I
tell me what
appreciate
you
that.
think, and
Yeah,
see if you like it or not. So
sounds good, man. All right, buddy.
awesome, man. Thank you,
Take
bro. Have
care.
a good
All
night,
right,
man.
you too.
God
Bye.
bless.
Hey, don't go anywhere yet.